until we're successful.
Abrego Garcia denies accusations he's a violent gang member. The Trump administration says he is. Health and Human Service Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to find out what's causing autism in American kids.
The ASD prevalence rate in 8-year-olds is now 1 in 31. Shocking.
Says he doesn't believe the increase in autism spectrum disorder cases is just about more diagnosis and awareness. Studies show it does commonly run in families.
We know it's an environmental exposure. It has to be. Genes do not cause epidemics. They can provide a vulnerability. You need an environmental toxin.
Secretary Kennedy says he will announce in 2 weeks a series of studies to identify what the environmental toxins are. The Trump administration is suing the Department of Maine Education Department for refusing to ban transgender athletes in girls' sports.
We are seeking an injunction to get them to stop what they're doing. That's pretty simple.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says the suit also seeks to revoke titles won by trans athletes, giving them to girls who competed against them. President Trump says he's joining trade and tariffs talk today at the White House with Japanese officials, with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. America's listening to Fox News.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Increasing clouds as we go through our Wednesday afternoon. It's a touch warmer than yesterday, 68. Tonight, clouds, couple of showers after midnight, 52 for the overnight low. Then on Thursday, a mix of clouds and sunshine. Still expecting some scattered showers, maybe a spot thunderstorm on Thursday, but also expect some dry time. It's not an all-day rain. 75 for the high on Thursday. How about 83 on Friday? This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you are still healthy and can qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Yeah, it's not the Manny Fry Show. What did you do while I was gone?
You weren't supposed to know about that.
Gotta thank Balls.
Unfortunately, there's a record. There's a record.
I didn't know
of
he was
all
going to
these
get
things.
a shout out this quickly, but I was alerted to your shenaniganery.
By him?
Yeah, on Twitter. He said,
Why did you do this, Balls?
I was told on X, the guys changed your intro and they said, don't tell Annie. And then he said something like, I got you. And then Ethan called him a traitor.
That's a fact.
I said, confirmed, Balls is not one of the homies.
And for the record, that's what he calls himself.
And he was offended.
That's a him thing. That's all right. He might actually outrank you guys right now because he seems to be like the one who's on my side. I take a few days off. Yeah,
That's
whatever.
what that is. Yeah, it's kissing butt.
Yeah, just
Balls is kissing butt.
It's getting weird.
And that's my contribution to this first segment. Thank you, guys.
Welcome back, Annie.
You guys don't even need me here. So I went on a weekend trip with my oldest daughter. We had a nice little mother-daughter getaway. We're taking a page out of the Ryan Wiggins parental playbook.
Wow, that's the first.
I said when you were gone, and they can probably, I don't know if they'll vouch for me right now, in this
I'm
current
just
state of hostility in the studio.
There's a record of the show.
Yes, you could go back and listen to it, that I admired you for that, and I was going to try to do that myself.
See, you say these things when I'm gone. You just tell me.
I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, Ryan has taken picked a kid, his favorite kid that year.
In any given moment.
Yeah. And it could change.
Yeah.
No, he takes his kids on father-child, because you have 2 boys and a girl, little vacations. And I was like, that's really cool. I think we should do that. And so we're trying to start doing that. My husband's going to try to take my son Charlie this summer on a stadium trip, maybe to go to Cleveland and then Pittsburgh. Did you know Cleveland and Pittsburgh am I memorizing this wrong? 45 minutes apart from each other or something?
I didn't know that.
Driving?
It makes sense.
I guess.
Knowing where
according to
Pittsburgh
maps
is in Pennsylvania. It's barely in Pennsylvania.
You're so dark on this screen right now.
Am I?
Yeah.
That's deliberate.
Did you see Joe Biden go start to give his speech? Did you see Joe Biden giving a speech?
I did.
I haven't looked at this sheet. Do we have any video of that?
We've got video, a bunch of video of Joe Biden's speech. We don't have the video of the beginning.
The beginning? It's really not for radio.
No. Because
I listened to Fox News on the way coming in here, and they were playing this video of Joe Biden giving it. This is the first appearance that he's made since he was president.
Well, he's made one public appearance, but he didn't speak at all. This is the first time he's spoken.
He walks. He's supposed to start a speech, and they had some music playing. So they play him, just as you would when you have your featured speaker come to the podium, and the music's playing, and he's just talking.
Yeah.
You can't hear him. I mean, it's the music, usually you play people off the stage. They tried to play him on the stage. He's like, enough of it. Turn the music off.
Yeah, it's funny because with anybody else, you'd think, well, based on where the speakers are, sometimes you actually can't hear it very well if the monitors are facing a certain direction, but it's Joe Biden.
You'd know.
You just know.
The ladies on Outnumbered were like, maybe he couldn't hear it.
Did they?
I thought, well, that's possible.
It is possible.
It's possible that he just couldn't hear it. That's possible. So I'm interested in him being back in the game, and I'm interested in how he got there. Outnumbered said earlier this morning that he was compensated for that. I almost don't think presidents should be able to be compensated for those things. What do you think?
I don't know how you get around it. I get what you're saying, but I don't know what law you could write that would actually work.
It seems to me like they could have. This is exactly how things go. I'm saying this in like such a I got a great idea.
We should get all the money out of politics.
No, I'm like, they shouldn't be able to get the money. They should be able to have money directed to charities that they love.
Yeah, like NGOs.
Which is, how we actually ran the government. Forget that. I need to go back on vacation. I'm stupid. I came back dumber. Super naive. That's not good. What I bring to the table is a very cynical edge.
That's true.
I like maybe if they gave Joe Biden money, he could just give it to people who need it.
Can't we all just share all the money?
That's exactly what I've been saying the whole time. Give me your money and I'll determine who needs it. I need all of your money. And then I'll just redistribute it to the places that need it the most, according to me. Communism. Gosh.
I'm sorry, but you did not get this kind of crap on the Manny Fry show.
I'm saying this on the air since you went there. I tuned in twice yesterday. I heard you talking to somebody who said that they were married to a psychic.
Yeah.
And you were like, this is so interesting. Well, we got a break.
Yeah, we had no time.
I stayed in my car to listen to how it ended.
That's how it ended.
And I was like, am I listening to this to like protect my show, my baby, or am I actually interested? And I thought, I actually think I'm more interested than I am. There's both. But I thought it was kind of leaning in your favor. And then you're like, well, we got a break. And then you literally said, like, we'll never talk about this again or something to the effect. And I was like, well, I guess it's up to me to bring this topic back up.
It is. And I got to say that you played right into my hands because you got to leave them wanting more. So right in the middle of something interesting, I've learned you just
leave.
Stop.
Just leave the room.
Stop and you play the music.
Also the same thing Joe Biden does.
Yes.
He just goes.
That's why I love Joe Biden.
And then he knows what he's doing.
I was a Biden voter.
So he turns over and looks over his shoulder and smiles at you. Just so you know, he knows.
He
has 5D chess.
Saddest day of my life was when he dropped out of that race.
Mm-hmm.
I was Biden all the way. And then I had to go to Trump, my second choice.
That's real true information. That's a fact check true.
Yep. You said you tuned in twice. That was once. What was the other one?
Where you were getting really deep into Canadian economics and the inner workings of Donald Trump's mind.
We all learned a little something that day, didn't we?
I certainly did. It's like, I have got to get back there.
You loved all of it. All of it. You're like, dang, this is so good.
You're
I forgot
right,
it's even my
did.
show.
Do you know why I loved all of it? Because I heard those two things in the car on my way to beef tallow fries at Steak and Shake for my kids who clean the house.
What'd you think?
About the show or about the fries?
The fries. I don't care about the
Fantastic.
show. Okay.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Good to know. I'll be going there in just a second.
Yeah. They're really big on the beef tallow. There was a sign in Florida where I was, a billboard sign that had a chicken painting a billboard sign that said, eat more tallow.
Oh.
And I'm like, that is a direct hit at Chick-fil-A.
Wait, but if you're eating tallow, aren't you on the Republican side? Why would you be against Chick-fil-A? Oh, man, I don't know. The worlds are mashing together here.
No, you want beef, you go to Steak and Shake. You want chicken, you go to Chick-fil-A. You can't lose.
We're in a win-win situation.
What do we do?
I don't know. We've never been here before.
Too much winning?
Too much winning.
Not enough winning. More winning. More from Joe Biden here. You hear some of these things from him, and gosh, there's so many clips here, and I like all of them. There was only one that I was going to go to, but maybe we'll get. Let's do this one. This is the most ridiculous one. I think a lot of people who listen to news regularly probably have heard this clip already, but you have to ask yourself if a Republican, like, Vivek Ramaswamy is not a good example because he's Indian. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You got old white guy. Remember, the Democratic Party, the party of DEI, equity over equality, all these types of things. They care deeply about this, and they're always talking about it. And it's very important to them. The idea of identity politics, or if you're Joe Biden, the idea, which he says all the time, of identity politics, it means everything to them. And he is the oldest, whitest guy in the game for the Democrats. And they're like, we pick him. And he's like, I'll pick a woman of color. And they're like, that's good enough. That's a good deal. We'll take that. This is what he's saying at this speech. Listen to how he talks.
I was only going in 4th grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by. They never turned right to go to Claymont High School. I wondered why. Asked my mom, why? So in Delaware, they're not allowed to go to school, in public school, with white kids, honey. That sparked my sense of outrage as a kid.
It sparked his sense of outrage as a kid, and he's still casually in conversation referring to people of color as what he says back then they would say colored kids. Is that a mistake, or are people overblowing this?
I actually wonder if that was part of the script and he just didn't read it right, because what it sounds like he might be saying there, again, I'm just trying to find that maybe there is something here.
You know, your Biden fanboy status is in check right now.
I'm apologist for the guy. I think that maybe what he was trying to say is, when I was a kid, when I would see that bus going, we called them colored
Yeah, that's
kids.
what he said.
And that's kind of, it just didn't come across that way.
I just don't think it's something you throw out there casually in conversation without highlighting that that was then. Like,
yes.
like not making it inarguably clear.
Especially if you're writing for him. You have to make it
In
very
fact,
clear.
If you're writing for him, you don't put that in there.
Yeah, you probably just skip that.
This says Angry Joe. This is the one that I was listening to this in the car on the way in, and I actually laughed out loud to myself in the car because I was like, oh, I remember those times. That was a special time. 4 years of Joe Biden going through what seemed like he had lost his fastball, but he still knew the mechanics of being a politician. But it's like when Austin Powers gets unfrozen, he can't control the volume of his voice. He's got the mechanics. Joe Biden still has the mechanics of being a politician, of commanding a room and trying to draw people in with the way that you move about your speech. It's like he still has that, but the substance isn't really there. Oh, Angry Joe.
You know, my dad was an honorable man. And my dad used to have an expression. He said, Joey, your job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Well, that's what you're all about. That's what the legislation is about. It's about dignity. Simple dignity.
Oh.
Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, regardless of their standing, regardless of economic situation, regardless of who they are.
I got a theory.
I love to hear it.
I think that what he's trying to do is make sure that he stays awake.
No, he's waking himself up.
Because he's getting a little bored.
Do they
Sleepy Joe.
are those words in the speech bold?
I don't know. If he just decides, like you said with Austin Powers, I can't control the volume of my voice. It does. It's just sudden. It's so weird.
And I mean, he's the rest of his tone when he delivers a speech, it's kind of a lull. You kind of listen to it. And Donald Trump does this too. 100%. Donald Trump, when he's delivering a straight speech, he's got this kind of, both of them have lost some tone to their voice, and it's kind of a little bit more breathy. And as he'll be talking, I'll realize if you were just listening to the tenor of the speech, it's kind of boring. It kind of lulls you deep. And then he yells. Sorry if I scared you.
You did. But I was falling asleep, so.
Thank you. That's what happened yesterday. Why I didn't hear the rest of the show.
No, that's not what happened yesterday. Yesterday, I take you right to the pinnacle, and then we
really
just end. This is interesting, isn't it? Be right back.
With something else. That's not us here, though. Attorney General Andrew Bailey in studio, right?
Yes,
he's here.
He's out there right now.
Did he answer my question?
He was on a phone call whenever I messaged him, so we're not sure yet.
Well, I'm asking him then.
Okay.
I want to know about Real ID.
Ooh, me too.
You've got yours.
Yeah, I do.
You renewed and got a Real ID and didn't realize it?
I didn't even know.
I don't even know how that's possible.
I probably checked a box somewhere and didn't know.
No, it's not that simple.
You got to bring stuff in.
I think
Do you really?
I think you stole something. I think you put that gold star on your license.
That's also possible.
It is. The question we have for you in the YouTube live chat poll today is, do you have a Real ID? Yes, no, and you need one? No, and you don't need one. I want to know your Real ID stories. I want to know from y'all who went and got your Real ID and it was smooth sailing. And I want to know the folks out there who have not gotten their Real ID and why. And we need you to get onto the Annie-Fry YouTube channel and you can vote in that poll. You can leave us a comment as well. I went yesterday and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. So what about that Real ID? The time is coming where you're going to be needing it, required to have it in order to fly after May 7th. Or will you? I see people questioning it. But the story right now is yes, you're going to. Andrew Bailey is going to be in with us when we come back, and we've got a lot to talk about with him, of course. A constant fighter against DEI. And also, let's talk a little bit about Planned Parenthood with the Attorney General in studio here on the Annie Fry Show. Next, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan are a phone call away, a text message away even. 314-324-4440. Our mortgage payments seem to keep going up and up and up. You want to make sure that you do everything to position yourself economically in a sensible way, and that starts with a phone call to Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. For your new mortgage or for a mortgage refinance, rates have significantly come down from their highest highs. You can reach out to Stewie for that new or refi mortgage and lower that monthly payment with $0 in closing costs. That's where the Bagel Loan comes in. You go through the process of acquiring that new mortgage and you don't pay any closing costs at all to get it done. That's what really takes the barrier out of the way to make sure that it's a worthwhile endeavor, investment of your time, and Stewie will guide you through the whole process. I've refied twice with the Bagel Loan and have a super low rate thanks to Stewie. 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah. Watch me some dingers and RBIs. I'm just glad they have my local team live for its root for the Cardinals on FanDuel Sports Network. Cardinals games, Chip and Brad, the Birds on the bat. Did I mention they have the Cardinals? Stream now.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-222-9599. 800-222-9599. Again, that's 800-222-9599.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I am the place that trained America's black doctors and nurses. Homer G. Phillips Hospital opened in 1937, transforming healthcare for St. Louis's black community. The hospital became a vital training ground, producing over 50% of the nation's black medical graduates by 1939. Homer G. stood as a symbol of empowerment and resilience in the face of segregation. St. Louis is more fascinating than you realize, and the Missouri Historical Society is giving it a proper introduction. We are stlouis.com.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Attorney General Andrew Bailey sent a letter demanding the country's leading companies abandon DEI practices today. Bailey is joined by 14 other states in, quote, fighting to protect working Americans and investors from these woke political trends and blatant racial discrimination, end quote. He threatened legal action if the DEI practices do not stop. He has already filed lawsuits against Starbucks and IBM.
Well, there you have a report from Hannah Falcon of KFVS 12 in Cape Girardeau talking about Missouri's Attorney General. We just happen to have him in studio with us right now. Andrew Bailey, thank you for being in here.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you. I want to get to the DEI thing here in a second. So I want to talk about your fight here more locally on behalf of the people of Missouri. But there is a headline that has just come out here in the last minutes, probably within the last hour. Federal Judge James Boasberg, we've heard that name, finds probable cause to hold Trump in contempt over deportation flights. The 48-page opinion, Judge Boasberg said the court had ultimately determined that the Trump administration actions on the March 15th deportation flights, which took place after he issued a bench ruling ordering their immediate return to U.S. soil, demonstrate a, quote, willful disregard for the court that is sufficient for the government to be found in criminal contempt. Do you have any comments on this? Because this is breaking legal news.
Yeah, this is judicial lawfare. I mean, that's exactly what this is. We saw lawfare from state and local officials in Georgia and New York against then candidate Trump. We see it now from the bench in an Article 3 unelected federal judge, cultural elite who's taken the bench, who's doing judicial lawfare against the Trump administration. The judge never had authority to interfere in foreign policy, national security issues that are given to the executive branch under our constitutional structure. So when that judge usurped his Article 3 authority to invade the province of the executive branch of government, the judge behaved illegally. And so now he's saying that, well, you still have to do what I say or I'm going to hold you in criminal contempt. That's not how this system works. That judge should be impeached. At the end of the day, the executive and legislative branches of government have checks and balances against the judiciary as well. It's high time we use those checks and balances. The judiciary is not right because they're right. They're right because we've allowed them to be last, but we don't have to. Article 3 says that the federal judiciary adjudicates cases and controversies between parties, but only where there's that limited federal jurisdiction. The judge had none. He has no authority to issue this order.
Oh, so the way, we understand there are lifetime appointments for a judge like this. He's very much so an activist in the way he's using the bench. The only way that the American people get to check, because we love checks and balances in this country, is through impeachment.
Yeah, that's right. And at the end of the day, that's up to the legislative branch of government. The House could impeach the judge and then the Senate would hold a hearing. I think that's an appropriate step. I think that at the end of the day, we're not talking about a disagreement over the contours of settled law. We're talking about the usurpation of one branch of government against the other. Now, what if President Trump just said, I'm not going to follow the laws Congress passed? That would be called a constitutional crisis.
Right.
Well, that's what we're seeing here, but it's a constitutional crisis of the judiciary, of this judge's making. And you see, like, Chief Justice John Roberts of the United States Supreme Court saying, hey, look, we shouldn't impeach judges just because we disagree with them. This goes beyond a simple disagreement over, a jump ball could go either way. The issue of first impression, like, this is settled law that's dictated by the United States Constitution. And you have a federal judge that's trying to make Americans less safe by interfering in foreign policy and national security directives from the executive branch.
Yeah, we've heard so much about, you said constitutional crisis. I almost don't even take that phrase seriously anymore, because just by virtue of the American people in a majority, all 7 for 7 swing states, just a landslide victory for him in November. Like, we were told by the left that it would be a constitutional crisis if Donald Trump got reelected. And it's always interesting to me to hear a political party in the Democrats always say that the only way to preserve democracy is if you only vote for their party. And I'm like, I don't think you understand what that word means.
And they're the same people that try to destroy our democratic republic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what you see this judge doing by saying, well, separation of powers doesn't matter. I also get to dictate foreign policy. I mean, would we allow a judge to set troop movements on a battlefield or select bombing targets in a time of war? No, we would not. Yeah. And yet that's exactly what this judge is trying to do.
So, the left is working very hard to transform how we function, and they got the wheel for a while Joe Biden was the president. We had a lot of implementations across the country to really elevate where DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion was implemented, how it was implemented, but specifically how it was prioritized over all other things. And you have been a steady advocate for actual equality and not the inverse of it, which is what the left has been putting up. Talk to us about what you're doing right here in the state of Missouri.
I agree with the United States Supreme Court. The best way to end racial discrimination is to stop discriminating on the basis of race.
Amen.
And corporate racism is still racism. Ever since 1964, when the Civil Rights Act was passed, Title VII prohibited discrimination on the basis of race or national origin in the workplace. The Missouri Human Rights Act, same thing. And so Missouri is uniquely positioned, given the authority of the state under the Missouri Human Rights Act, to take action. We certainly sent ample warnings to our corporate citizens to eliminate racially discriminatory practices that are hidden under this kind of, social justice warrior mantra of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion programs. But at the end of the day, if you're enforcing racial quotas to elevate certain races above other races, you're depriving those other races of opportunities in the workplace. That's violative. That violates the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It violates the Missouri Human Rights Act. What we're doing here with the Business Roundtable, this is a group of hundreds of CEOs that have met for the last 50, 60 years, and they issue kind of best corporate practices and corporate governing principles. And so they published a new principle 4 or 5 years ago that said, hey, we're going to redefine the term corporate purpose. Well, corporate purpose is supposed to mean maximizing profits for shareholders.
Yeah.
That supports open, free, fair market economics. And yet in 2019, 2021, the Business Roundtable said, we're going to redefine corporate purpose to promote DEI instead. Well, that's a breach of their fiduciary duty to their shareholders. So it's illegal in that respect. Specifically promoting racial quotas violates Title VII of the Civil Rights Act and the Missouri Human Rights Act. And it's immoral. How dare anyone tell African Americans they're not good enough to achieve? I mean, it's very patronizing to say you're not good enough. I'm going to promote you despite your lack of merit. And then you're going to be forever beholden to my largesse. Yeah. I mean, that's what corporate America is saying to the Black community. I think it's morally abhorrent.
It's racist.
It's absolutely racist. It's corporate racism.
You are listening right now in studio to Attorney General Andrew Bailey, a fierce defender of our constitutional rights here in Missouri, but also across the country. You've had a lot of national implications on fights that you've chosen to really go all in on. I'm interested in, DEI, and I've said this because I'm a fan. I'd love to take my family to Disney World, and I hate what Disney has become. I love what they were. Walt Disney I think is one of the most patriotic Americans that we can highlight, and they've really turned everything upside down right now. And I feel like they're kind of starting to get the message, maybe, and that's because dollars speak, of course. But DEI in a company like Disney, but in many other companies as well, it was a marketing tool. Like, I'm not even sold that the company's implementing this idea of diversity and inclusion. They saw that it was trendy and they knew they could sell it to people.
Yeah.
And it didn't sell. Yeah. But what about these companies who are kind of renaming or repurposing, kind of sneakily trying to keep those policies in place, but do it back here behind the curtain.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is always racial quotas, discrimination in the workplace based on race has always been and will always be both morally abhorrent and illegal.
Yes.
And we're going to enforce the law against it in the state of Missouri. I think that what happened, despite all the work in the civil rights movement, hey, look, Republicans have been fighting and dying for a meritocracy to give African Americans a fair chance since the 1860s. So this isn't new to our party.
Yeah.
But what we saw in the 1960s with civil rights movement and legal protections to prevent this kind of discriminatory behavior. And then after the 1990s, when the affirmative action cases came down and the court kind of said, well, look, we're going to allow some racial gerrymandering in higher education. It's been a steady decline since then where folks have said, well, if we can do it here, we can do it there, we can do a little more, we can do a little more. But even in that context, even in the context of higher education, since the 1978 case, Regents of the University of California I think his last name is Bakke, they said racial quotas still violate the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution. That's going to be interpreted in parallel with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And so this has always been illegal. And so it doesn't matter. Look, the noble objective is still illegal. It's still illegal to discriminate on the basis of race. And I don't know how to say it any better than the Supreme Court. The way you end racial discrimination is to stop discriminating on the basis of race.
Yeah, that is a very well put conclusion. I think that Americans clearly have said that they agree with that. In the last election, they had the opportunity to weigh in on that. Another thing that Americans weighed in on in the last election is a lot of the gender confusion that exists as a cultural and, again, trendy thing to push as a priority over all else. You're fighting back against Planned Parenthood as well here in the state of Missouri. Talk to me about some of your successes there.
Scored an enormous win yesterday in court to force Planned Parenthood to turn over documents that we requested as part of our ongoing investigation into gender mutilation clinics operating across the state to hold wrongdoers accountable. Those clinics have resisted compliance with state statute since I initiated that investigation, and we're not done, and we're not going to give up. All three of those cases have been briefed and argued and or decided at the appellate court level. We're waiting on 2 decisions out of the Eastern District Court of Appeals, but yesterday was a huge win. And again, it just validates the state's authority to protect the health and safety of children. I said since I took office, I want Missouri to be the safest state in the nation for children. And that means ending the gender mutilation of kids that is a woke left-wing experimentation that permanently harms kids. It's not based in health or science. How dare anyone tell these kids God put them in the wrong body? We know he doesn't make mistakes. There are 0 FDA approvals, even under the Biden administration's FDA, 0 FDA approvals for the administration of powerful chemicals like puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones or dangerous irreversible surgeries for kids under 18 for the treatment of what's called gender dysphoria. And the fact that there's no medicine or science behind it means it should and is banned in the state of Missouri. And we're going to look back in time and hold purveyors of this dangerous experimentation responsible for their actions. And again, the court has validated the state's role in protecting the health and safety of children in Missouri.
And we've seen studies that have been done where they've hidden studies away that show something that is politically disadvantageous to the people who want to push this type of gender transformation in children specifically. Like they have manipulated, with the science. They've manipulated the science for a political purpose. It's evil.
Yeah. Anytime the left starts preaching science, radar should be going off, right? I mean, we saw that during COVID. There wasn't any science behind anything. Quote unquote, Dr. Anthony Fauci. I mean, I can hear the quacking, from over here. At the end of the day, there was no science behind this. And you're right. Think about what happened to big tobacco in the 1990s. When they knew the cigarettes caused cancer and hid that science from the public and resisted government regulation. And then there were enormous lawsuits that have forever changed the tobacco industry and honestly really reduced the amount of smoking, in the United States of America. I think history is going to look back at this moment in time. Let me give you an even better example. Think about the 1940s at the tail end of the eugenics movement, where the leading psychiatry of the day said that lobotomies were the best way to treat mental health disorders. They went in and cut out your brain. That's mutilation of the human body. And it didn't fix anything. It made people worse off. I think that history is going to look back at the moment in time, the height of that transgender movement and see it as a dark, shameful period in our history where we were harming children. And thankfully here in Missouri, we put a stop to it.
Amen to that. We're speaking with Attorney General Andrew Bailey. One last question before we let you go. Just interested in your thoughts on, read the Fox News headline here. Trump administration refers New York Attorney General Letitia James for possible prosecution over allegations of mortgage fraud. I don't know how much you've been able to look into this, but you are an attorney general here in Missouri.
Yeah.
She has that same position in New York. What are your thoughts?
I think that the allegations are not just words. There's documentary evidence that were attached to the letter that the independent counsel official sent to DOJ as part of that referral. And those are documents showing that Letitia James was getting loans for a house that she called her primary residence in Norfolk, Virginia. So one of two things happened here.
Primary house.
So
either
she's not legally capable of legally qualified to be the New York Attorney General, which the rest of the world will be better off if that's true. Or she committed a fraud and, authenticating a false writing, doing a forgery of a writing here in the state of Missouri is a felony offense. It's also disqualifying. She's supposed to be protecting people from fraud, and it appears she was perpetrating. And this is not a contortion of the law. We have the document now with her name affixed to it. So this is a real problem for her. And I think the chickens are coming home to roost.
What's the stronger case? Letitia James' case against Donald Trump or the Trump DOJ's case against Letitia James?
The DOJ case against Letitia James. There was no case against President Trump. Again, what she pointed to is fraud. Everyone made money. The banks that she say he defrauded, everyone made money. There was no victim. Nobody complained. And there was no falsehood in the writing. Here, again, she either...
Sounds like Letitia James made money.
Yeah, exactly. Like she forged a document for pecuniary gain. It's the definition of fraud.
It's just like too funny. It's too ironic. I'm sorry.
Dripping with irony.
I don't know if you're not allowed to laugh at that, but I'm thinking that is funny stuff.
I've seen the news story. I didn't realize how much those things paralleled until you just said that.
Oh,
the tax issues.
Maybe now we understand why she knew so much about the fraud she was trying to tack on Donald Trump.
I mean,
it's just good at it.
My position is she had to contort the law to try to fit the facts that President Trump. Because if you look at the banking entries or the documents that he submitted as part of his business transactions, they weren't fraudulent. And no one was misled because everyone benefited.
My question with the Trump case has always been, if you told Trump you'd pay him $1 billion to commit the same crime again, would he even know how to do it? Would he even know how to replicate the crime that he was being charged with? Real quick before we let you go, do you think there's a natural conclusion to the case against Donald Trump's a felon now? What's going to happen there?
I think at the end of the day, the court has to vacate that conviction. Legally, he can't. Legally, those facts don't constitute criminal behavior.
How long does that take?
Years. I mean, the appellate process, criminal conviction. You can take 18, 24 months at the Court of Appeals. If he wins, theoretically that's over, could be transferred to the highest court in New York. And I'm sorry, I forget what the name of those courts are, but you'd have an intermediate appellate review. Theoretically, you've got an independent intermediate appellate review, and then the highest court, a state Supreme Court.
So could he be cleared right before the next election?
I mean, yeah.
If this were a movie, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Attorney General Andrew Bailey, you are fighting for common sense. And unfortunately, we need to fight very hard to get common sense back in. But we are very fortunate to have you here in the state of Missouri doing the job.
Hey, God bless. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you so much. Andrew Bailey here in studio on the Annie Fry Show. All right, quick break. And then Ryan Wiggins tries to elevate the show from here. Everybody watch and see if he's capable. How do you feel? You feel good about that?
No.
Well, you got to stick around.
Look, the Attorney General standing right next to me. What am I going to say? Yeah, I'll outdo him.
Maybe if you stand in the microphone he was on, maybe it'll just rub off on you a little bit. All right. Wiggins America next. Don't go away.
We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's hard to beat the system when we're standing at a distance. So we keep waiting on the world to change. Now if we had the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more ribbons on their door. And when you trust your television, what you get is what you got. Cause when they own the information, they can bend it all they want. That's why we're waiting on the world to change.
Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com. There's something I haven't paid any attention to while I was out of town was the markets. If you are nearing retirement, especially if you're 59 and a half or older, did you know that you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses. If you have your stomach in knots right now while the stock market is going all over the place because the timing is of the essence here, you need to get with somebody who specializes in exactly your situation. All you got to do is make a phone call, that's free, and then sit down and have an initial consultation with the Retirement Advisory Group, which is also free. This is a no-brainer. When you call 314-993-9494, you're going to sit down with Bob and Tammy Kershaw, Thomas Helbig, and you're going to be able to talk about where you are, what you want, and they are going to help you get there. It's really that simple. They are wonderful people. They've been long partners with us here on the 97.1 radio station and also the show. We trust them. We trust you with them. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
If you're a homeowner, it's time to upgrade your windows with Window World. Mark Cox here. I am a satisfied customer. I love the windows they put in my house, and there's a reason they're ranked number one in the number of windows sold in this country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They have that lifetime warranty. It covers all the parts, the glass breakage, the labor. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And in over 20 years in business, they have improved the look and the thermal efficiency of over 76,000 customers in the greater St. Louis area. Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. And I think the customer service sets them apart from the rest of their competition. And they have an excellent track record with the Better Business Bureau. They've also raised a lot of money, over $3 million for local and national charities. So be sure and check them out. Call them at 314-993-1800. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. You can also go to windowworld.com.
As Passover begins, I want to share a bit about this meaningful Jewish holiday, especially for those of you who may have friends, neighbors, or coworkers observing it. Hello, I'm Danny Cohn, the new CEO of the Jewish Federation of St. Louis. Passover tells the story of Moses and the Israelites' journey from slavery to freedom in ancient Egypt. It is a time for family, reflection, and honoring traditions passed down through the generations. You might notice some of us eating different kinds of food, including matzah, a flat, unleavened cracker, and skipping bread this week. It's part of remembering the urgency of our ancestors' escape and journey towards receiving the 10 Commandments at Mount Sinai. Many families gather for a Seder, a special meal filled with symbolism and questions that spark conversation and learning. No matter what you celebrate this season, appreciating each other's cultures and traditions helps us build a more connected, compassionate St. Louis. So, from our Jewish community to yours, Happy Easter, Ramadan Mubarak, and Chag Pesach Sameach. Happy Passover.
A lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, this is my last hope. The next step is getting them in the right arch supports. Our goal is to have that long-term change for them, to see someone that is in pain. I change things for them. See how we can help you with a free fitting at the Good Feet store.
The YouTube live chat poll today is, do you have a Real ID? Yes, no, and I need one. No, I don't need one. That is the question we would like to know. This is going to be an interesting poll because I have no idea how it's going to turn out. 12:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Foley Foundation works tirelessly to bring American hostages home. Kim St. here. We're raising awareness about the Foley Foundation's mission to reunite families, hold captors accountable, and prevent future hostage taking. Visit 971talk.com/events to learn more.
Love is a burning thing.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
A fiery ring.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
My wild desire. I fell into a ring of fire.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
All right, well, there is a new season of Black Mirror out on Netflix, and while that show sometimes...
I'd never heard of it.
Really?
No.
Okay, so this is the the modern generation's anthology series like Twilight Zone.
He was talking about this all day yesterday.
Not on the air.
No, off the air.
No, he was
but-
talking about Canadian psychics. Go on.
I was. Wait. I think you mixed up two of those segments. You
It was-
mashed them together.
It was just so confusing.
But this show is really one of the best shows on streaming or television
I thought
today.
you were talking about our show.
No, not this show. Black Mirror is great. A lot of money goes into
What was
it.
I
Now,
thinking?
politically, you will find episodes where that show leans left pretty hard. But the first couple episodes I've watched of the new season, really, really cool, really good. And one of them deals with the Mandela effect. So you've all heard of this Mandela effect, right?
Explain it.
Yes, I will. The Mandela effect is a phenomenon that was named by a paranormal researcher. She wrongly recalled that Nelson Mandela had died in the 1980s. She says she could remember news coverage of his funeral,
Is he
even
still
though
alive?
he died in 2013. So, but the collective memory was that a lot of people in the world thought that he had died way earlier, decades ago, and he hadn't. So they named this kind of collective misinformation the Mandela effect. And there are famous ones that people have already talked about, like Berenstain Bears. You've probably heard this if you've heard this topic before.
Berenstain? Berenstain.
Which is it? Do you know?
I'm an E person. Baron, S-T-E-I-N.
That's the way you pronounce it.
No, I remember the E.
You remember the E because there is no E in it. It's Berenstain Bears. And
Yeah.
that's one of those that the collective conscious says, what? It had to be Berenstain Bears, but it's actually Berenstain Bears. So I've got a whole bunch of those that are a little more off the radar that I'm just going to test your memory on to see if you are remembering this correctly or incorrectly. The first one is Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
I'm not a expert here.
I wasn't either,
Shaggy
but
is the dog.
No.
Was it a cat?
Shaggy
is not the dog. Shaggy
from Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo is the dog. I said I wasn't an expert.
I thought for a second that's a pretty good joke, but I'm not sure she's joking.
No, I was dead serious. So you could name a dog Shaggy, maybe not in Scooby-Doo because
Shaggy
that would be
from
confusing.
Scooby-Doo. Oh, which one's the dog?
That
I
was
think it's Shaggy.
that was after Scooby-Doo transitioned.
Now there is a movie called The Shaggy Dog. Maybe that's where you're getting confused.
Also unfamiliar.
Annie creating her own Mandela effect.
Yeah. What are you
happening.
talking about, Scooby-Doo? Shaggy was the name of the
Shaggy
dog.
was always the name of the dog.
Scooby-Doo is the name of the orange-haired girl with the purple dress.
That's right. And the stoner. They were both called Scooby-Doo. All right. Shaggy is the guy who talks funny, Casey Kasem originally, in the green shirt. Did he have an Adam's apple or not?
Obviously, I don't.
Yeah, you're not going to know.
Obviously,
you thought he was a dog.
Yeah. I think that's it's a stupid assumption. Never mind. I'm not even going to justify it. Adam's apple or not?
Adam's
boys?
apple or not?
I feel like he had a crooked neck, so I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say no because I feel like most dudes do. So
If I were
say
going
no.
to do this as a
That's
test
smart.
taker, then I would think that everybody would think he had an Adam's apple, but he didn't.
You're correct. Yeah, everybody remembers him having this big Adam's apple whenever he eats sandwiches and stuff. He had never had one. This one's for very much the left side of the room here. Left side of the room. That being Annie.
I was just say, is that me?
Yeah, that's you.
If I stop curling my hair.
How did Mickey Mouse originally hold his pants up? During the early years, Steamboat Willie era,
Buttons?
was it suspenders or was it a belt or buttons?
Buttons.
I remember buttons.
You guys,
I got nothing. Buttons.
do you want to be here?
No, he doesn't.
I have no
Our
idea.
job
This
is
is
to
way
pretend
before
like
me.
we do. Keep going.
You guys are right. It's buttons, but the collective memory was that he had suspenders
Did
on.
Steamboat Willie have suspenders?
I don't know. They just have a picture of Mickey.
I think Steamboat Willie had suspenders.
Let's go on to, I'm going to name 3 peanut butter brands. Tell me which one is not real.
Jiffy.
You already know this. How do you know this?
I know things.
Jif,
Not a lot about
Skippy,
Scooby-Doo,
or
but-
Jiffy?
Yeah, it's
It's
Jiffy.
Jif.
Jiffy is not
Cheesy
real.
moms
That's
choose
a
Jif.
tire shop.
Jiffy Lube.
Jiffy Lube.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, Jiffy is not real. And it seems that everybody can even picture the logo when they were a kid of Jiffy, but they're probably mixing up Jif
I
and
kind of
Skippy.
wonder if
Yeah.
there was maybe like a really successful ad campaign where they're like lunch in a Jiffy. I'm making that part up, but where Jiffy became part of an ad campaign for Jif, and that's what kind of confused the two. But I remember Choosy Moms Choose Jif. That was a
Yep.
good marketing campaign.
You got it. All right. How about Looney Tunes? Spell tunes.
Tunes.
TOONS? I don't know.
I'm going TOONS.
Brad is correct. It was TUNES, but everybody would have assumed that it was TOONS.
That would have been the smart way to do it.
That would have been. We already talked about the Berenstain Bears. How about Oscar Mayer? What is the correct spelling of Mayer?
A-Y-E-R?
E-I-E-R.
No, get out of here, Ethan. He doesn't want. He's trying to get kicked out.
M-E-I-E-R.
No, if that's right.
My bologna has a first name. It's OSCAR. My bologna has a second name. It's MEYER.
MEYER?
Yeah.
I said A.
Annie is correct.
Wow.
It is MAYER, but everybody
Ethan, that's
spells
almost
it.
the stupidest thinking the dog in Scooby-Doo's name is Shaggy.
The song was even before our time. My bologna has a first name. That wasn't a part of our childhood.
No.
That was before us. But yeah, even with the spelling in the song, people still spell it wrong.
M-A-Y-E-R.
M-A-Y-E-R. Here's another Disney one. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Who's the fairest of us all?
Is that quote actually in Snow White?
The woke one or the regular one? Definitely not the woke one.
The original Snow White.
The new one is,
Who's
hey,
the most inclusive
listen up,
of them
witch.
all?
I would guess that it's not
Just the way that
by virtue
question
of
is-
the segment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
No.
gonna tell us, or is this just where it ends?
I'm gonna leave you one more. That phrase is not in that movie. Mirror, mirror on the wall. It is magic mirror on the wall every time she says it. Isn't that
Mirror,
surprising?
mirror.
See, that's another
That's Shrek.
Is it
Mirror, mirror.
the reason why I feel like some of these things happen is I almost guarantee you that there was something that aired at some point where they couldn't say magic mirror on the wall because of copyright. So they changed it to mirror, mirror. And then whatever that thing was becomes successful. And then
Mhm.
it loops you back into going, no way, that's not mirror, mirror. It's
Yeah, you may be right. Although a lot of it's just misquoting. Last one. Does the Monopoly man have a monocle or not?
No.
He should, but he doesn't.
You're correct. He does not have a monocle. Oh, wait, one more.
Fruit of the Loom.
Does Kit Kat have a hyphen or not?
No.
I can't remember
Yes.
a hyphen.
Brad, tiebreaker?
I don't remember a
Just
hyphen.
make something up,
so
Brad.
no.
Pick! For the love of God, pick!
There is no hyphen in Kit Kat, but
Should
people
be.
remember it with a hyphen in it.
When Ethan buys Kit Kat, you put that hyphen wherever you want it. I'd put it between the first K and the I just because you can.
It cat.
Sure.
You should
Make it your own. Embrace it.
You should have hyphenated your last name.
When we come back, Deroy Murdock, Joe Concha, join us in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll be right back.
I fell into a.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This May, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is coming back to St. Louis. Join us at Energizer Park for the round of 32 as St. Louis City SC plays for this historic trophy. Get tickets now at stlcity.com/Open Cup.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
PointPestControl.com is point with an E. And if you are looking for somebody who can ensure that you are bug-free, you want Point Pest Control. I, myself, am a paying quarterly service plan member, and I'm very grateful for it. We don't have bugs, none. If we do have a bug show up, they've told us and assured us that I can call them and say there was a bug. I can tell them what it was. They will come handle the situation for me to make sure that obviously we're probably going to kill that bug on our own, but we'll make sure that they don't have friends and family in our home. Point Pest Control can also help you with termites. As soon as you see evidence possibly of termites in your home, you want to get directly to the bottom of the problem before it becomes a bigger issue. Spring is definitely termite time. They're a proud authorized Centricon termite system company, and termites cause $5 billion million in damage to homes and businesses in the United States every year. Make sure your home isn't one of them. Whether you have spiders, creepy crawlers, whatever it might be in your basement, in your house, or a termite problem, 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. PointPestControl.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
The state of Maine must explain. I'm Therese Crowley, Fox News. Attorney General Pam Bondi suing the state of Maine under Title IX, failing to protect women. Education Secretary Linda McMahon explains that Maine has failed to comply with the Trump ban on trans athletes in women's sports.
Our investigation has found that Maine continues to willfully violate Title IX and to strip the civil rights of female athletes in the state.
The DOJ threatening to pull federal funding retroactively.
This fight between the state of Maine, meaning Governor Janet Mills, and the federal government only intensified with this civil lawsuit that was filed. This is a warning the Justice Department gave to Maine several weeks ago. There's been correspondence back and forth, but neither side is backing down. The grounds of the suit are based on Title IX from 1972, which prohibits the discrimination on the basis of sex in activities receiving federal funding. Maine receives federal funds. Several different federal agencies found that Maine is in violation of Title IX by allowing men to play in women's sports.
Fox's David Spunt. Health Secretary RFK Jr. with new CDC findings on the rate of autism in America, increasing to 1 in 31.
The prevalence of autism spectrum disorder was 1 in 150 in the year 2000. Kennedy says that these updated numbers, even the ones we have now, the 1 in 31, are based off of data from 2 years ago. And he wants to change that.
One of the things that we're going to do as we remove this function to the Administration for a Healthy America, to the Chronic Disease Division, the new Chronic Disease Division, is we are going to have updated real-time data so that people can look at this, so Americans can understand what is happening with chronic disease in this country in real time.
And many in the medical community say that diagnosis rates don't prove the developmental condition is any more common.
America is listening to Fox News.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Increasing clouds as we go through our Wednesday afternoon. It's a touch warmer than yesterday, 68. Tonight, clouds, couple of showers after midnight, 52 for the overnight low. Then on Thursday, a mix of clouds and sunshine. Still expecting some scattered showers, maybe a spot thunderstorm on Thursday, but also expect some dry time. It's not an all-day rain. 75 for the high on Thursday. How about 83 on Friday? This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
STS-armory.com. Have you visited Pontoon Beach, Illinois lately? I hope that if you haven't, you'll make your way over to the brand new location for STS Armory. Again, in Pontoon Beach, they've relocated to a building that they designed exactly for what they do. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what STS does. Katie and Jesse have a wonderful family-owned and operated business where you can shop firearms, ammunition, safes, security devices, non-lethal types of protection. I have pepper spray from there that you can get so many different things to fit your particular needs. And the best part about it is Katie and Jesse are good listeners and they know so much about the industry that they can apply their knowledge to your needs. That's very, very helpful when it comes to being a Second Amendment supporter in the state of Illinois. Visit STS Armory in Pontoon Beach. Talk to them about the classes that they offer. If you're looking to get your conceal and carry for the first time, if you're looking to renew your conceal and carry, just did that last November, you have the right folks at STS Armory. You can call them directly at 618-931-GUNS or hit them up online at sts-armory.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for New Perspective Senior Living, where your loved one will enjoy chef-prepared meals, engaging activities, state-of-the-art technology, and a welcoming community that feels like home. Visit npseniorliving.com to schedule a tour today. New Perspective, where every day is a chance to live life on purpose. Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
97.1 FM Talk presents Talk in Action, where we shine a spotlight on local charities making a difference in our community. Join us as we give back and connect neighbors in need. Visit 971talk.com/talkinaction to learn more.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Here at the airport, I'm about to board my flight for San Salvador. The goal of this mission is to let the Trump administration, to let the government of El Salvador know that we are going to keep fighting to bring Abrego Garcia home until he returns to his family. I hope to meet with representatives of the government. I hope to have the chance to actually see Kilmar and see what his condition is. But we are going to keep fighting because this is a miscarriage of justice. The Supreme Court has ruled 9-0, that he was illegally taken out of the country and put in a prison in El Salvador. And this is about due process. This is about rule of law. What bullies do is they begin by picking on the most vulnerable. But if we get rid of the rule of law and due process in the United States, it's a short road from there to tyranny.
Did I just hear Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen say that the Trump administration is picking on the most vulnerable in Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the quote Maryland resident? Of course, he's a Maryland senator saying this. Listening to the press conference that was taking place yesterday between the El Salvadoran president and Donald Trump, they sure painted a different picture of who this individual was and where he belongs and should call home. Let's talk to our friend about it. Deroy Murdock joins us once again, an nationally syndicated columnist, Project 21 ambassador, and of course, a Fox News contributor. Deroy, welcome back. Good to have you here.
And it's great to be with you.
Thank you. There's a lot of linguistics involved in shaping this Garcia situation. This Maryland resident, the El Salvadoran citizen. What is real here, and what are the politicians trying to do with it?
Well, the most amazing distinction that the Democrats like to use to describe this Kilmer, well, I see it's Kilmer or Kilmar. I'm not even sure what is the correct spelling of his name. Is it like Kilmar with an A? Or
I'm looking at Fox. It says Kilmar.
Kilmer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's AR. Anyway, I see different things in different documents. Anyway, Kilmer Armando Abrego Garcia is the full name, quite the mouthful. And he's been described by people like Senator Van Hollen and people in the media as Maryland father. He's like this guy who's, taking his kids to Annapolis to visit the Naval Academy, and then he's rushing off to do soccer and then off to the PTA meeting. It's just amazing. And, all right, he's got kids. Now, would we refer to Joseph Goebbels as a Berlin father? So what? He's got kids. Osama bin Laden had kids. So he has kids. So that somehow makes him a saint. Look, the guy is an illegal alien which means that he has every reason to be deported just for that, even if all he did is, go to work and go back home and play with his kids. Well, it turns out that he is a member of MS-13. That's according to two different immigration judges. One of them said, quoting here from a legal document, after considering the information provided by both parties, the court concluded that no bond was appropriate in this matter. The court first reasoned that the respondent failed to meet his burden of demonstrating that his release from custody would not pose a danger to others, as the evidence shows that he is a verified member of MS-13. All right, and then there's another legal document that says the same thing, that he is a gang member. He has gang affiliations, and he has a past proven and reliable source of information verifying his gang membership rank and gang name. So you have two different immigration judges saying that he's a gang member of MS-13, and this is obviously the same vicious group that has gone out and killed people. The MS-13 members in Long Island not only killed people, they have a very, very sadistic streak of torturing people, chopping them into pieces with machetes. So this isn't just some guy who's racing home to help his kids with their algebra homework or whatever it is that Van Hollen would have you believe. And also remember that one of Senator Van Hollen's constituents was a woman named Rachel Morin, mother of 5, and she was murdered certainly murdered by an MS-13 member, a same member of the delightful gang that Van Hollen thinks is of no interest. And Senator Van Hollen did not have very much to say after Rachel Morin was murdered by an MS-13 member, but here he is on a plane ready to quote unquote bring him home. This guy's an illegal alien. His home is El Salvador. His home is not the United States. He broke into this country. He has no right to be here. He has a right to be deported, which he has been. He was under deportation orders and was deported, and he's right where he should be, which is back home in El Salvador, not in the United States of America, which is not his country and which is a nation into which he broke as an illegal alien. I'm glad he's gone. I hope he never comes back. I hope he rots in that jail until he dies.
Deroy Murdock speaking with us right now. I can't help but think of the political nature with which the Democrats play their cards, especially when it comes to incarceration and due process and all of that, because I can't help but remember President Joe Biden in many speeches. He almost didn't give a speech without talking about MAGA extremists. He worked very hard to identify a group of American citizens who spoke in a majority in the last election, call them MAGA extremists, make domestic terrorists out of people who cared about what their kids were learning about in school. And then we saw on January 6th the way the Justice Department under Joe Biden and the Democrats decided to detain and put in solitary confinement these people for crimes that, I think the rest of us look at this and we go, why are they getting this treatment? Now you have an MS-13 gang member who's from El Salvador in the United States, and the Republicans decide to deport him, put him in the hands of El Salvador, who puts him in prison. And you've got a senator, one of 100 from Maryland, going there to stand for the people. I just think the Democrats are telling us right now the people they're willing to stand for.
They are, and it's amazing. Look, he could be standing up for parents trying to get their kids educated. He could be standing up for small businessmen and businesswomen who want to see their businesses thrive. He could be standing up for nature and saying, can we clean up the Chesapeake Bay or clean up XYZ forest? He decides to spend his precious time. The U.S. Senator has lots of other things on which he can focus to get on a plane and go down and plead and advocate for a guy who is an illegal alien. We know that. He's an MS-13 gang member. We know that according to two different immigration judges. He was under deportation order, which means he was supposed to be deported, which he was. We know that as well. And despite all that, Van Hollen and other Democrats, not just Van Hollen, but others, are standing up and hold this guy up as a folk hero and a role model. It's astonishing. And this is the same party that is busy, not all of them, but many of them, standing up and defending Luigi Mangione, the alleged killer of the United Healthcare CEO here in Manhattan, a few blocks from where I sit right now at Fox News. And they're also defending Carmelo Anthony, the young man who confessed. He says it's not alleged. He said, quote unquote, I did it. Stuck a knife in the heart of a 17-year-old, very intelligent, apparently about a 3.96 GPA average 17-year-old student in Texas, stuck a knife in his heart. The poor young man bled to death, and he's now in a casket. And people in various Democrats are saying, well, that Austin Metcalf was his name, that he got what he deserved because apparently he touched this guy, Carmelo Anthony, while asking him to leave a private tent at an event where a bunch of other students at Austin Metcalf's school were gathered. Now, maybe you shouldn't have touched him. Maybe you should have said, get your hands off of me. Back in the old days, what somebody might do is take a swing at somebody. But what this Carmelo Anthony confessed to have done is to take a knife, stick it in the heart of Austin Metcalf, who bled to death and is now dead. And again, rather than express outrage and disgust at this young man's behavior, you have a lot of Democrats standing up for him. He's raised something like $400,000 on GoFundMe, and people are saying that his treatment of Austin Metcalf, which was in fact fatal, was appropriate, and Austin Metcalf got what he deserved. So what we have now is the Democrat left basically defending an illegal alien gang member, somebody who killed a teenager a couple weeks ago in Texas, and Luigi Mangione, who is accused of assassinating the CEO of United Healthcare, and lots of Democrats defending all three of these people. The Democrat Party's turned into a death cult. It is a clear and present danger to the American people, and the sooner they are extinct and out of business, the better off this entire country will be.
Joy, I think about you're so right when you're talking about like who are these people willing to advocate for, to go out on a limb for, to make the headline story of their political cause. And it's a head scratcher to me that if you were trying to push back against Donald Trump's deportation measures, his immigration stances, his border stance, if you really wanted to get to the heartstrings of American voters, is it really the case that a man who is living in Maryland, who's from El Salvador, who's a gang member, who is part of a vicious gang, is that really the best possible case you have to make to the American people that Donald Trump is being very, racist or selective in who he's trying to deport? That doesn't seem like the best foot forward, in my opinion.
And not the best foot forward. Look, there may be some poor little granny who broke into this country, and she shouldn't have done that. But maybe she's just been taking care of her grandkids,
right,
babysitting them, and maybe she got swept up and she got sent back to Guatemala. And you bring out the violins and you play them for her and make people cry. Oh my God, Donald J. Trump's a monster. He kicked out this poor grandma. How dare he send Abuela home? Okay, fine. Maybe you get some political traction with that. But the Democrat Party wants to run up the flagpole an illegal alien member of MS-13, which is a vicious, deadly gang, and say, this is the role model. This is the guy we're going to defend. I wish them luck. The louder they say it, the better. Maybe we should give a free microphone to every Democrat to stand up and say how much they love this guy. And if the Democrat Party wants to say that we are the party of illegal alien killer gang members, great. Go out and say that. Scream it as loudly as possible. Sing it from the rooftops, and may their support go from 21% where it is down to 15, down to 10, down to 0. And have this party finally go the way of the Whigs, the Know Nothings, and the Confederacy. Move them into the Smithsonian, put them behind plexiglass, so we can go visit them as museum exhibits, because that's where they're headed now.
Yeah, they're tripling, they've quadrupled down, and I just feel like the issues that the American people said that they would even be willing to take a chance with Donald Trump, which I think for a lot of people in the middle was a really bold statement to the Democrats. Like, we trust you so little that we'll just roll the dice on Donald Trump in the November election to see how he can get this country back in shape. All the Democrats seem to do is say, we need to change our tactics, but not our message.
Sure seems that way. I mean, you'd think these people, they're not stupid. These people have college degrees. They've got many of them law degrees, MBAs, what have you. They've got some brain cells between their ears. I would think that somebody there would say, this is really silly. This is a losing argument. We shouldn't really be defending a member of an organization that is known for killing people and cutting them up into chunks. Let's find a better cause than that. But no, they don't seem to learn. They are unable to change their ways. All we get is more gas pedal going in the wrong direction from them. They can't tap the brakes. They can't do a U-turn. So they're just going more and more rapidly towards a cliff. And I imagine over it, maybe all the way down 1,000 feet into a ravine. That sure looks like the way they're going. And I don't see anything to the contrary.
Well, I think you're right on with, especially the way you have with words to get straight to the point. The Democrats don't seem to get it. And I can't tell yet if they don't want to get it, if they know it and they're refusing it, or if it just hasn't sunk in yet. But every day that they go by with this type of misled messaging to the American people is a better day for Republicans and the future of this country.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that sometimes I think that these people are actually secret agents of the Republican National Committee, and they're like deep cover moles who are doing all they can to help the GOP while appearing to be Democrats. I mean, that's really the only logical explanation for a whole lot of this stuff.
Deroy, we thank you for your time today. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Great to be with you. Thank you.
You as well. Bye-bye. Deroy Murdock, a dear friend here on Wednesdays on the Andy Fry Show, nationally syndicated columnist, Project 21 ambassador. Check out Project 21 if you haven't before. Great organization, and a Fox News contributor. We go from one Fox News contributor to the next. Joe Concha next on the Andy Fry Show. We're going to give him a call here in just a second. His book, The Greatest Comeback Ever. Guys, you know, you want to revisit that election and the results and how we got there. The McDonald's stop, all the different things that led up to the greatest comeback ever. Well, Joe Concha wrote a book about it. It's called Inside Trump's Big, Beautiful Campaign. It's coming here in, I think, the end of April. But he's going to join us on the Andy Fry Show next. So don't go away. Joe Concha coming up.
You were my son.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
So you took a chance, made of a plan. But I bet you didn't think that they would come crashing down. No, you don't have to say what you did. I already know. I'll count up my hand. There's just no chance when you and me. There'll never be. Don't it make you sad about it?
When you are looking to build your dream deck on the back of your house, it needs to be affordable, whatever your budget is. I mean, affordable means different things to different people, of course. When you reach out to Artistic Decks, you can call them at 314-280-0821, 314-280-0821, or go online to artisticdecks.net. You're going to be in contact with the people who can make that dream a reality and can do so this summer. You need to reach out to them right away and just get your name on the list so you can have your consultation, which is free design and consultation. They're not going to charge you for that. They use the best materials. They have the best people. They work with all the permitting and everything. So they're not sending you on a wild goose chase. We know that the different municipalities around here can sometimes be a pain in the butt. Artistic Decks, they do it all for you. And at the end of this summer season, you can be sipping sweet tea on your deck and enjoying this new space, this new home area that you've created for yourself in partnership with Artistic Decks. Go to 314-280-0821, 314-280-0821. Make your dream deck affordable by calling Artistic Decks. They've been in business for decades, and they are ready to take your phone call to give you that free consultation, that free design, and get that deck ready for you to enjoy this summer. 314-280-0821, artisticdecks.net.
It's time to get outside and enjoy the great outdoors. Mark Cox here from my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, where they've got a great deal for you right now. Mention Mark when you call them, and you're going to get 20% off your next outdoor project, and the options are just about limitless. They will help you design your project if you already know what you want in your backyard, or they'll bring a digital photo gallery and let you see maybe what your neighbors have been doing. And then you can go in and you can pick the project that works best for you. Maybe it's a new sunroom. Maybe it is a pergola, a patio, the retaining walls. The list is long. You're going to love working with my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They have financing options available with up to 60 months at zero interest. And right now, remember, you get that 20% off when you reach out and tell them Mark Cox sent you. All you have to do is go online today to chesterfieldfence.com.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi,
I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Noon.
Something tells me I'm into something good.
And the Lovin' Spoonful. Do you believe in magic? Saturday, October 25th at the Family Arena with the Hollies' greatest hits, starring Terry Sylvester. Get tickets now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Herman's Hermits, starring Peter Noon and the Lovin' Spoonful.
Get ready for BTO live in concert. Bachman Turner Overdrive with special guests Zebra and Aldo Nova. Roll on down the Highway 2025 tour. Saturday, August 30th, the Family Arena. A night of vintage BTO. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Bachman Turner Overdrive.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
I'm hot, you're cold. You go around like you know who I am, but you don't. You got me on my toes. I'm slipping into the lava.
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future. And for me, like Gail said, this wasn't a ride, it wasn't a destination, it was a journey, and it was a supernatural one. And my journey has always been about love and belonging. And I think that we have all felt that sometimes we weren't worthy or we didn't belong, and in certain ways, no matter all the accolades, no matter all the studying, no matter anything. And I think today we all said it, like, we belong here.
Oh, what you know, Joe.
Joe Concha, Fox News contributor.
I mean, all I can take away from Katy Perry's 10 Minutes in Space is that if she could do that much to save the world, she should have done it sooner. Joe Concha, welcome back to the show. Fox News contributor, author of The Greatest Comeback Ever Inside Trump's Big Beautiful Campaign, which is coming out this month. What do you make of this whole space travel by all women? It's a big deal.
Yeah, let's see, Annie. It's now 26 past the hour, and we're going to do this interview for about 12, 13 minutes, okay? That interview that we're about to do, okay, this coming up, will be longer than the entire flight. You got Gail King, going to have to be somebody, Buzz Aldrin, all right? 11 minutes. I mean, what can you do in 11 minutes? I know what I can't do in 11 minutes. Wink, wink. The wife is laughing. Stop it. Back in 2006, it was different. Anyway, the point is, you get it. This is a media creation, totally overblown.
Yeah.
Everybody's annoyed by these people. What can I say?
Okay, I want to hone in on that. This is super annoying. She just said something like, amidst all the accolades, and it's like, shut up. I don't even know why I don't have a problem with Katy Perry. I just don't care about her enough. But why are we being told, in a political world where Joe Biden is just on stage talking to people and saying, we've never been this divided. That was the whole thing he was sold to the American people, was to provide unity. And now at the end of his term, we're more divided than ever. So what could we do? Let's send Katy Perry to space and see if that fixes it.
Right, exactly. Or Gail King. to space, who only went on vacation with the Obamas. But I'm a very serious journalist. Hey, Brock, pass the tequila and the salt, okay? Unbelievable. So it looked good in the pictures. I just, they landed on the moon, then I'm impressed, right? They played a little golf up there, collected some samples. But this was just like a flight that just happened to go a little higher than your average airplane. And we're talking about it. So I guess it means something, but it costs a lot of money for nothing, right? It didn't produce anything.
Not that I know of. I mean, I guess what the thing about it that annoys me, if Bezos wants to do this and send them up there, okay, fine. But I just don't understand where these people think that when they come back that it's going to somehow, what did she say? Something about we're not taking space, we're not taking up space, we're making space. And it's just like, I feel like in 2025, probably due to COVID and how accessible everybody became through social media, do celebrities have influence in this way anymore in 2025?
No, because you have a great point around social media. They've lost their aura, right? I mean, you would see a celebrity, like maybe show up on like Johnny Carson, for example, but you'd see him and that's when they're being themselves or outside of a character. Then you wouldn't see him again for another like 6 months a year, right? Now I got to hear and read every inane thought that goes through every celebrity's mind. And it's just like, anytime anybody speaks, the more they speak, it's probably going to be the less impressive they are. So yeah, they lose the aura. I always find people who don't have social media accounts to be still very interesting. You know, I don't think Charles Barkley has one. So that's why I'm like, okay, when Chuck's on TV, I'll stop and listen to what he has to say. I mean, I agree with it half the time, but he's not sharing everything like a Stephen A. Smith type of guy. So I guess that's where I'm at on that. The social media is.
Yeah. Tell me about the Stephen A. Smith thing. I want to go there because he's like, if nobody else is going to step into this, then I'll do it if I have to. I'm willing to take on that task. I guess Donald Trump kind of said things like this along the way, but he was a businessman. He managed huge amounts of money and grew businesses. What are Stephen A. Smith's qualifications?
Well, let's see. He played college basketball for a bit, then he blew out his knee, I believe. Then he graduated. Then he's just worked in sports journalism ever since, whether it be in print, whether it be podcast or radio, whether it be now on television, where he just got a $100 million contract from ESPN, which is amazing considering ESPN's just firing people left and right and asking people to take pay cuts. And then they give one guy $100 million. So yeah, I think that the argument is made that, well, Trump was a celebrity and Stephen A. Smith's a celebrity and you have to be a celebrity in order to win now. No, Trump, to your point, ran businesses. He was an executive that managed people and knew how to get things done. And he's talked politics his whole life, by the way, particularly when it comes to trade and tariffs. That's Trump I'm talking about. Stephen A. Smith just started talking about politics like 5 minutes ago. And I guess that makes him feel like he's qualified, but this is Howard Stern written all over it. And what I mean is, for your younger listeners, back in the 90s, Howard had announced that he's running for governor, and he even got on the libertarian ticket. And then when push came to shove a couple of months before the election, of course he dropped out. And he said it's because he didn't want to disclose his financial records.
Right.
But you knew it was going to happen all along. He just rode 3-4 months of publicity, and people had him on the air all the time. And now Stephen A. Smith, who do I see on ABC's last week with Jonathan Karl, former White House Correspondence President? Oh, it's Stephen A. Smith talking about his possible presidential run 45 months before the next election. So this is all a farce, and we should treat it as such. But our media will go for the quick ratings, for the quick soundbite, and you're going to see Stephen A. probably with Margaret Brennan next week, and then on CNN with the Abby Phillip probably on that panel yelling about something, and he's going to milk it for all it's worth, and his brand will be bigger. But in the end, he's not running. Of course, he's not running, because why would he? Why would you leave $100 million at ESPN to talk about sports when you're not going to be president of the United States?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's spot on. I do think I think there is an interesting contingent to the at least one eyebrow raise towards a Stephen A. Smith discussion around being the president, which is he's criticized both sides, and he has been somebody who has come out and criticized the Democrats, before the election. He was willing to criticize what the Democrats have to say. So I feel like the one thing he brings to the table is maybe a little more of a connection to the average American voter. I don't know if that's enough to run the free world, but I do think the Democrats could maybe take a note out of the popularity that Stephen A. Smith has in that regard and stop being so crazy far left progressive.
Great point. I think the problem is, while he'll appeal perhaps to the average voter, because he does criticize both sides. He says Democrats are far too woke, that they don't have leadership right now, that they keep swinging at bad pitches as far as every single policy that Trump puts forward, they have to oppose, even if they once supported it. The problem is that doesn't get him the nomination. And what we've seen is the Democratic nomination is a fixed fight. In 2016, WikiLeaks dumps showed that Bernie Sanders, absolutely, the DNC was going to make sure that he was not the nominee. And you may remember during the convention that year, I think it was in Philadelphia, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was the DNC chair, she literally had to step down as DNC chair because of all these emails showing that she was clearly, and the DNC was clearly favoring Hillary, and they wanted Bernie out. And sure enough, they got what they wanted eventually. Then in 2020, Biden loses Iowa. He comes in 4th place, comes in 5th place in New Hampshire, and then suddenly the C's part, and all these candidates drop out, and Biden's the nominee, right? Remember that? It came out of nowhere. Bizarre, right? They made it him against Bernie. And then 2024, they literally installed Soviet-style Kamala Harris as the nominee. So that's in 2028, Stephen A. Smith's not going to stiff the nomination because the party elders are going to make sure that an outsider who actually criticizes the party ain't getting anywhere near that.
Well, I want to ask you a little bit. We're speaking with Joe Concha right now. Wherever the Democratic Party is right now, wherever the Republican Party is right now, we're seeing the Trump DOJ push back against Letitia James. We're seeing, I think it was Boasberg filed some sort of contempt order against the Trump DOJ or the Trump administration. This is elevating. The lawfare seems to be elevating. I'm interested in your comments on the Letitia James suit, the mortgage fraud from the Trump DOJ. Do you think that's a worthy effort for the Trump administration to be engaging in?
Well, when you look at the evidence, it's just hilarious. It's got a very Ilhan Omar feel to it, where you have Letitia James apparently said that she was married to her father. In other words, that her father, in order to, I guess, establish a false residence in order to gain favorable loans over XYZ. I still got to read over the brief,
right?
But it's pretty damaging. And I guess it's a fair turnaround karma kind of thing. It does feel like revenge, sure, but if she broke the law and did basically what she accused Trump of doing, well, these are her rules, right? Yeah. So now she created this precedent and she's got to live with it. And again, the evidence is pretty damning right now.
Yeah, it certainly is. The former president, Joe Biden, came and spoke at an event. And I was thinking about playing this on the air, but it's not really good for radio because you got to see it to believe it. The music's playing. Yeah. He's starting his speech. I mean, the descent continues. It's very obvious that he hasn't bounced back in retirement and is living this new life. He still has his tone changes where all of a sudden he goes into Angry Joe. I wondered what your thoughts were. You've literally written a book about Joe Biden talking about all of this. What did you think about what you saw from this most recent speech?
I think Democrats must have been horrified when they saw him walk back out onto that stage. And to your point, the music is blasting. Clearly, he's supposed to be there waving and soaking in the applause. And instead, he's just like, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. And you can't hear a word he's saying because the music is blasting, right? So, yeah, a couple of things to unpack on this one, because I just actually talked about it on Outnumbered. Can you imagine paying to see Joe Biden speak? I'm going to fork down $100 to see that guy, right? I'd rather see Snow White. Seriously, that would be the option.
You are the only one, maybe, but yeah, that's a good standard. Does he get paid? Does he make money to do that event?
Oh yeah. That was definitely for a paid speech.
And
no doubt.
Why would a Democrat entity bring him in right now? What is the value in what Joe Biden brings to the table? I think every time he's seen, it's hurtful to the Democrat Party.
I mean, he still has the title of, former president, former vice president, right? Former senator, whatever you want to say. So I guess, yeah, that will attract some people, I suppose, who may be nostalgic for his presidency. I don't know who those people would be, because Democrats are even horrified by what he did to the party. And basically what I mean by that is that he should have stepped down in 2023 and allowed them to have a normal primary where undoubtedly Kamala Harris would not have gotten the nomination. And maybe they could have won that election, even though I think any Democrat that would have run, the brand was so broken and Trump was so strong that it wouldn't have happened. So, but yeah, he definitely did it for money, because you think about the revenue streams from Ukraine and Russia, they've kind of been shut off now through Hunter Biden. So he needs the money, I suppose. But in the end, Democrats resent Joe Biden. They don't want him anywhere near a stage. They want him back in the beach or down in the basement, because he is a reminder of everything the Democratic Party had failed at in 4 years and why Donald Trump is president again. But then again, Annie, I guess he can run in 2028. And with the bench being AOC, Cory Booker, and Jasmine Crockett, and don't cut it out yet.
Man, you'd have to rewrite your book, The Greatest Comeback Ever, because if Joe Biden wins in 2028, that will trump the Trump comeback. Your book is coming out.
Comeback ever.
Yeah. Just cross out greatest and write horrifying. Your book's coming out April 29th. You excited about the release?
Oh God, yeah. It's really getting some good buzz now. getting booked in a lot of places, this show included as well. And I'm going to be seeing the president next week at the Easter egg roll at the White House, and he loves the cover. He's told me he did.
Great.
Like the McDonald's photo that you get with it. Yeah. And I just think it's one of the greatest stories ever told, not because I wrote it, but just because what we witnessed from June of 2024 right through the election is the craziest news cycle you could ever possibly imagine. And all the things that Trump had to overcome to win, it really is the greatest comeback ever.
Yeah, it's American history. And it's great that you have cataloged it there in that book. Coming out April 29th. I want to know who the Easter Bunny is at the Trump Easter egg roll. I want to know if it's still cringe.
They want me to do it, to be honest with you.
If you do, we want to know ahead of time. That's for sure.
All right, done deal.
Joe, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Annie. Have a good one.
You as well. Bye-bye. Joe Concha, the greatest comeback ever inside Trump's big, beautiful campaign. He's a Fox News contributor, of course. You can follow him on X at Joe Concha TV. He's a great follow. He really keys in and focuses on what the media is doing, which I appreciate because he watches certain media outlets that I don't then have to, because I can see the things that he clips and highlights. It's kind of how we all consume a lot of the media that we do each day, right? In news feeds. Let's take a quick break. Ryan Wiggins back in studio with us in just a second. In the 2:00 hour, we don't always have guests in the 2:00 hour, but I'm very excited about Kristen Neal, who is the president and CEO of Greenway Therapy right here in St. Louis. You can go to begintalking.com to learn more about her as a licensed professional counselor. Therapy right now is an interesting world with the challenges that are brought into the conversation, into the therapy room, and how therapists are addressing a lot of the concerns that people have. We're going to speak with Kristen Neal about that at 2:05, and we want you to send us your thoughts and questions before we head into that interview as well. Let's take a quick break. Wiggins back in just a minute.
And I'm trying to keep from going under. Baby, who's trying to push you hard?
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Walking that room, all I can see is you. Oh, staring me down. I know you feel it too.
TheDiamondShop.net. Reach out to the Diamond Shop here in April and save on them beautiful diamonds. Diamond is the April birthday stone, and you can save 40% on in-stock diamonds right now at the Diamond Shop. So smart move. If you have a diamond purchase in your mind in the future, this is the time to get to the Diamond Shop and make sure you can save 40% off of in-stock diamonds. They do a whole bunch of different things at the Diamond Shop, but saving right now is simple when you shop. You can go online as well at thediamondshop.net. Did you know that they do jewelry and watch repair? If you want to bring something in and have them look at it, they can also do appraisals. Maybe you've inherited something and you want to see the value behind it. They also, something that they do quite regularly is take inherited pieces that you know that have a lot of sentimental value to it, but maybe you don't really want to wear the jewelry the way it was intended. They can create something new with it. Isn't that awesome? Reach out to the Diamond Shop by visiting them online at thediamondshop.net. You can also visit them in their Clayton store, the family owned and operated business in St. Louis since 1910. They are happy to serve you at their beautiful Clayton shop, and you can also save big, 30% off all in-stock jewelry all month, but an extra 10%, you're going to save 40% off all diamond in-stock jewelry throughout the month of April. Find them online at thediamondshop.net.
If you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, you need to be a member of the Range St. Louis West. Mark Cox here. You know, they get free lanes and free firearm rentals, 5% off firearms and suppressors, 10% off accessories, and 15% off classes. The new benefit on Sundays from 10 to noon, the lanes are for members only. And in April, you get 2 free basic cleanings of a modern firearm. Check them out at 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, TheRangeSTL.com.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Asking you the question today, do you have a Real ID? The answers are yes, no, and I need one, or no, and I don't need one. YouTube live chat poll. You find that by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube. Today's date will come up along with this poll where you can comment and vote. We will give you the results at the end of the show. 1:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Foley Foundation works tirelessly to bring American hostages home. Kim St. here. We're raising awareness about the Foley Foundation's mission to reunite families, hold captors accountable, and prevent future hostage taking. Visit 971talk.com/events to learn more.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Just 2 more rows and I'm good to go. Yeah, I'm shutting this tractor down. Give me a half an hour for a shave and a shower, and I'll be outside your house.
Did you guys do like a full hour on the Bezos all-female trip to the sky? I don't.
That's all we wanted to talk about. We disciplined ourselves a little bit and talked about it almost not at all.
Did you talk about it at all?
We did a little bit. I think it was during Wiggins America. Yeah, Ethan brought it for one of the stories the day it was happening.
I don't know much about it. I keep seeing it in like social media chunks.
I can't tell if this is a backfire or if this is exactly what they were looking for. People just talking about it.
My real question is, why did this happen?
I don't know.
Are we improving space travel? Are we standing up for women? Was Katy Perry bored?
Well, the last one's true.
Did Jeff Bezos' fiance was on it?
Yeah, I don't know how she got a ticket.
Did you see Bezos fall?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people saying, oh, it's a conspiracy now that they were able to open the door from the inside.
Yeah, I saw that conspiracy.
Why? I
guess,
saw that, but I don't understand it.
I guess you're not. I think what they're saying is women are not strong enough.
Oh, let's put, dude. If this is what we have to do to prove that men and women are different,
that's it.
Yeah. See, Bezos can fall over and still do it.
Here's another question. I don't know a whole lot of astronauts, so I don't know what the protocol is for when you come back from space. Is it like breaking a bottle of champagne over your ship to christen it, where you get out and you kiss the ground? That's what you do, or is that what they were doing?
Well, I thought it was weird that Gayle King and Katy Perry did it.
Yeah,
you kind of want one person to come out and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to be home. I was just here 15 minutes ago." It's weird to like kiss the ground and then someone else is like, "Okay, now I'm gonna kiss the ground too."
Uh-huh. Oh, not the same spot though. Ew,
that's dirty. I don't know. But, I'm speaking with Joe Concha in the last segment, where she says, I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space. We were making space. What the heck does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't care. I think it's, if somebody wants to go to space and Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or whatever wants to send him to space so you can see it. Listen, I went up in the Super Hornet, F-18 Super Hornet with the Blue Angels and got to see that and experience that. And I'm incredibly grateful for that opportunity. And it's going to be, in my top 10 life experiences that I ever have. I didn't solve world peace by doing that.
You didn't kiss the ground either, but you would have also died if you had crashed.
When we got back in the building, I did lay fully prone in the middle of the room where people were on the ground. I was like, I needed as much of my body to contact the ground as possible.
Oh, I understand that. I kiss the ground whenever I ride Soren.
It was also not public where I did that. It was actually more for like trying to recalibrate my sense of normal gravity. I am indifferent on the trip until Katy Perry is sitting on a panel after doing a 10-minute space ride and talking about how, like, I just hope people can learn from this. And I'm like, I'd be happy to, but I don't know what I'm supposed to learn.
Thank you, because as a guy, sometimes I hear these things and girls going, oh, this is very empowering. And I'm like, maybe it really is. And I just don't understand it. But when I hear that from a flight crew of people who went barely, I saw the arc. Did you see the arc where they barely make it to space? They come right back
and then come back down.
11 minutes. As Joe Concha said, this interview is going to be longer than that flight. That was so funny.
Yeah.
But when that happens and people get off of it and they go, well, we just changed every little girl's life. They all now are looking to us. Isn't that just self-aggrandizement?
There is a woman with wild curly hair stuck in space for 9 months who came back and was like, I'm good. What about her?
Yeah.
Katy Perry. Oh gosh.
Yeah, but has that woman who was in space for 8 months had any top 10 singles?
In space? There haven't been as many.
That's true. If you write a song in space, it's one of the top 10.
Yeah, probably. I just don't get it. When Concha was talking about, the mystery behind celebrity, I really think COVID had such a huge effect on how we consume celebrity people. Celebrities, we grew up with celebrities being kind of mythical, not tangible. You didn't ever see them in real life. They only existed on the silver screen or on your TV screen, and you don't look at them as individual people. They're chameleons who can be your favorite characters, and that's kind of it. And then in COVID, I will never forget the Imagine mashup of social media, people just going on there and singing parts of John, or was it the Beatles or John Lennon?
John Lennon.
John Lennon, yeah.
Imagine. And John Mayer saying like Camila Cabello's Imagine or some other artist. It's like, oh, I thought it was supposed to be this song or something. I like John Mayer, but when they were doing that, I remember watching this going, what are you doing? This is whatever you're trying to hit. This is a swing and a miss. And from then on, for me, I'm like, all these people are doing, they're just constantly trying to tap dance. They're just constantly trying to serve a relevance in our lives. And I'm asking myself, like, why is this relevant to my life? It's just not. Like, I don't need to be in your digital presence all of the time. In fact, I'd like less, so I appreciate you more.
Those videos are, for some reason, they're making the rounds again right now. Have you noticed that? The 2020 black and white celebrity talking to the camera videos, they're coming back around.
No, I don't know. You're black and white.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cameras. Yeah. They just stare right in the camera and they say something with great conviction.
From the bathtub.
Well,
what are you guys looking at? Which
I don't really know about that.
Gervais.
Okay. But no, there were
Whatever
ones
you're into, Brad.
in 2020 that were both about COVID and about Trump, and they're all leftist, of course, but they're very cringy. And what I've noticed is they don't happen as often now.
Mm-mm.
Because it's like everybody realized simultaneously exactly what you're saying. Oh, you're just a person.
I don't
you have
care.
an opinion. I don't really care.
Yeah. Like We've got real problems. And this, I can sit and watch you try to deliver some sort of virtuistic message. And at the end of it, I'm like, I still have real problems.
I remember being a kid and just thinking about these people like they're not really people.
Yeah.
Even sports stars.
Yeah.
You know, people that were in St. Louis, they just had this mythology about them. But social media, I think, has done that a lot, where it's made everybody more accessible.
I thought it was funny. I don't even know if I'm getting these facts right, but they kept talking about how it's an all-woman crew, blah, 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 but that they don't actually have to steer anything.
I don't think they did.
I was like, why aren't more people making fun of that? That's funny.
That's
a joke right
remotely.
there. Yeah. Let's put all these women in there. But don't let them drive.
The insurance goes up.
Yeah. You hit the curbs on the way out.
Dang, what's that?
There weren't even any curbs
shuttle
here.
hitting? They found a curb in the middle of the stratosphere.
You guys are terrible.
Oh, we're terrible.
Sexists. They're funny.
And why'd they pick those women? Why them? Is that all they could
I only
get?
know of three of them, and that's Katy Perry, Gayle King, and Bezos' fiance. And wasn't Jeff Bezos' fiance the one who was all booby at the swearing in? The inauguration.
I think I remember that.
You're like, I don't know.
I'll
have to go back. And
I don't know.
Trying to think.
Ryan, come back. Ryan, come back. Come back to the show.
Oh yeah, there it is.
There they are.
Forgot to check out her face.
Ryan.
Well, that is her.
Oh, there's the line.
Yeah.
And there's you on the other side of it. Hi, over there.
It was 2 days of this. Monday and Tuesday.
You talked about boobs the whole time?
Brad, I don't know. I'm going to defer to Brad here.
Brad's not going to say anything.
No, really though. Why was it Katy Perry?
No,
and
really.
Gayle?
Why are women bad drivers?
How did they find that?
Was
curb?
that the first call they made? You know who'd really be great for this? Katy Perry
Did
and
they have
Gayle
to pay
King.
to do it?
No clue. It had to be just PR. Which in that sense,
is Katy Perry hurting in that department?
Katy Perry will take anything she can get for PR.
Oh, it's judgmental.
It is. Half of the stories that come out about Katy Perry's new album are planted by her record label. And they're all like, well, this album wasn't quite what Katy Perry had done in the past. And
she was a church singer.
Yeah, she was.
I think I saw a picture of them in a circle praying before they went up.
Okay.
Which I was like, okay, that's cool. I mean, like I said, I was completely indifferent to the whole thing. Like, okay, I guess people do those things. And then they're on this panel and they're like, I think we've really brought the world together. I'm like, you need to stay up there for like at least an entire sitcom's length in order to do that. Like 22 and a half minutes. And then we can talk about world peace. Katy Perry, Gayle King. I don't know. Like I said, I was on vacation. I was dipping in and I just kept thinking, I don't get this. Let's talk to Kristen Neal when we come back. Licensed professional counselor. Don't go away.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Are you hosting Easter dinner this Sunday? Maybe you are. I want to encourage you to check out Ruler Foods and make sure that you don't spend any more money on that feeding of your family, of your guests, whoever's coming over to celebrate the Easter holiday. Save on all of those groceries you're going to have to buy. If you've got, let's just say, dinner for a family of 8, you are probably going to think that's going to cost you more than $50 to feed 8 people. Not at Ruler Foods. For less than $40, you're going to get all the traditional favorites. You're going to enjoy juicy ham, au gratin potatoes. This is some of my favorite. Fresh veggies, Hawaiian rolls. You're also going to get dessert alongside of that. You can enjoy this delicious and affordable food and go stress-free shopping at Ruler Foods and save for your Easter meal. Right now, you can also save on 1 pound fresh strawberries, just $1.99 each. Sugardale butt or shank portions, only $1.29 per pound, and juicy pineapples, $1.69 each. Reach out to Ruler Foods on rulerfoods.com. Put in your zip code, find the one closest to you. That's rulerfoods.com.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us. And we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Fight over the flights. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. A federal judge says he's found probable cause to hold the Trump administration in contempt for failing to return 2 planes deporting migrants to El Salvador last month. Fox's Rich Edson is at the White House.
U.S. District Judge James Boasberg says he has given Trump administration officials ample opportunity to explain their actions and that their responses have been unsatisfactory. He writes in this order, quote, "The court ultimately determines that the government's actions on that day demonstrate a willful disregard for its order, sufficient for the court to conclude that probable cause exists to find the government in criminal contempt." This is all over the administration's failure to return planes that left for El Salvador full of alleged gang members in mid-March. Boasberg says if the Justice Department refuses to answer his next questions, he will refer the matter for prosecution.
The U.S. government is filing suit against Maine's State Department of Education, alleging it's violating women's rights by refusing to keep biological men from competing in women's sports. Here's Fox's Evan Brown with more.
A federal lawsuit now filed against Maine's Education Department alleges violation of Title IX, and this has to do with Maine Governor Janet Mills openly refusing to stop letting biological men compete in women's athletics.
The state of Maine is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says they want women's titles bestowed to male athletes returned and given to females who earned them. Education Secretary Linda McMahon says they've been investigating the state.
We offered Maine leaders multiple opportunities to change their policy and to protect women in sports, and they have refused.
Eben Brown, Fox News.
And a federal judge says the EPA cannot end some $20 billion in Biden-era grants for climate-friendly projects. The order by U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkin in response to a lawsuit filed by Climate United Fund. America's listening to Fox News.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Increasing clouds as we go through our Wednesday afternoon. It's a touch warmer than yesterday, 68. Tonight, clouds, couple of showers after midnight, 52 for the overnight low. Then on Thursday, a mix of clouds and sunshine. Still expecting some scattered showers, maybe a spot thunderstorm on Thursday, but also expect some dry time. It's not an all-day rain. 75 for the high on Thursday. How about 83 on Friday? This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is online at igotfloored.com. And when you are looking for a new floor for your home, you've decided to rip out that carpet that came with your home and you're going to put in some beautiful, nice finish, hardwood finish looking floor. Techwood Plus recommended by Michael's Flooring Outlet. You're going to go into Michael's Flooring Outlet, or you can just go online to igotfloored.com and start looking through the different products that they have right there. And these are products that Michael's is very happy to stand by. When you're a family-owned and operated business like Michael's, you better do business the right way. You don't have a big, huge entity behind you backing you up to do and cover for you if you don't do the job right. Michael's meets the needs every single time. You can go online to igotfloored.com, read the reviews that are right there on the website, and see how people, actual real customers of Michael's Flooring Outlet, have enjoyed the process of working with the family-owned and operated business that has 3 locations across St. Louis. Shop for flooring at Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloored.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Baseball is back, and this season there are more ways than ever to watch your Cardinals on FanDuel Sports Network. As always, you can watch FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. New for 2025, you can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals without blackouts. And for a limited time, you can get started with a 30-day free trial using code CARDS30DAY when you sign up at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com. Visit Cardinals.com/TV to learn more.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, Audacy. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
Whether you're shaping up a small yard or tackling serious acreage, Steel walk-behind, zero-turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
The Foley Foundation works tirelessly to bring American hostages home. Kim St. here. We're raising awareness about the Foley Foundation's mission to reunite families, hold captors accountable, and prevent future hostage taking. Visit 971talk.com/events to learn more.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We're glad you're here with us this afternoon. It's a beautiful day out there. When I was in Florida this past weekend, it was mid-80s, the feels like temperature got maybe a couple days into the very low 90s. Oh, so
Hot.
great.
Oh, really? That's right. You
We're gonna
like
talk,
it hot.
we're gonna, of course I do. We're gonna talk about it a little bit later because I asked Ethan, I said, have you ever been in the conversation here in the studio when we talked about our perfect temperatures? And he's like, no. I said, well, he goes, I already know what the perfect temperature is. I said, well, hold on to that. So we'll discuss perfect temperatures here in a minute. But I want to get to our next guest. I'm excited to have Kristen Neal on with us. She's the president and CEO of Greenway Therapy. If you go online to begintalking.com, it's a St. Louis company here, St. Louis business. She's a licensed professional counselor. Kristen, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here with us today. It's great to have you.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So we had a conversation last week, and I was learning a little bit about you and how you have formulated kind of what I would consider to be, first of all, very interesting to me as somebody. A lot of people know who I am here and how I operate my life, but therapy is a place where you need to be able to go. You need to have a trusting relationship with the therapist, and you need to know that you're going there to get actual help. Kristen, Neal, why don't you talk to us a little bit about Greenway Therapy and how you guys take an approach that might be a little bit different than what people might have in their mind about therapy?
Yeah. So, a lot of people think that, I want to go to therapy and I want to find a therapist that's understanding and empathetic. And that's kind of a given, I think, when you're looking for a therapist. But I like to look at it from a deeper perspective. And when I'm personally looking for a therapist, I want a therapist to provide a safe space, but that safe space needs to include a balanced person to have a discussion with.
Yeah.
And that's not always a guarantee.
So when, politics certainly has, I would say there's a lot of people seeking out therapy right now. And I don't know if you have like specific statistics on how therapy has grown or ebbed and flowed over time. But I feel like, just as a civilian out here talking to people, that more and more people are encouraging one another to be open and honest about their traumas or intrusive thoughts, like these things that I kind of think of as therapy language. Is something that's kind of part of the common vernacular. Is that a healthy thing that society is embracing, kind of an introspective way of talking socially, casually?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I don't have any statistics, just so you know, but definitely people utilizing therapy is on the rise for sure. And the therapeutic vernacular is definitely being used more often. And it's a double-sided coin. On one hand, it's good that there's increased awareness around mental health issues, because then there's more acceptance and it's easier for people to get help. On the other hand, people are pathologizing a lot of just normal life stuff that they don't need to. And it actually makes them sicker when they do that.
Well, I want to drill down on that a little bit. We're speaking with Kristen Neal of Greenway Therapy. You can go to begintalking.com to learn more. I feel like from the outside looking in, it looks like people are aggrandizing their struggles. Like all of a sudden our struggles are the best thing about ourselves, and we champion our struggles. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I would really like to have zero struggles. I don't really want to champion them. I want to get rid of them. What's your experience in that?
Yeah, I would say struggles aren't unique. Like, the human experience isn't really unique from person to person, which sounds horrible for a therapist to say, but I mean, we're all experiencing a lot of the same stuff, and it's great to talk about it, but the goal is to not live in it. And oftentimes when people are utilizing therapy, the therapeutic process that they're engaging in is actually more of the problem. They're allowed, through working with their therapist, to continuously complain and vent. And actually, I was talking about about this with a client today, and how he's come a long way. And he's like, venting all the time about your problems is not how you get better. It's how you stay the same. And so you have to make actual changes in your life and start to think to yourself, like, so what's good today? Even if something's bad, even if something really bad is happening, what's good today? And if it's just that there's oxygen in the air and the world is turning, that's where you start.
I love that. What's good today? That's not the trendy way to approach life.
It's not.
Which is really kind of weird to say that. Let me ask you this. We're speaking with President and CEO of Greenway Therapy, Kristen Neal. She's a licensed professional counselor. Are there people in your industry? Are there places where people who are having these struggles, they feel are very, like you said, very unique to themselves. They're living this experience that is just so unique to their one lived experience. Are there therapists out there that look at that as an opportunity that maybe doesn't benefit in the long run the patient that they're seeing? Do you have conflict with people the way therapy is provided?
I think so. Are you asking me if therapists look at people as an opportunity to make money off of them?
Well, I mean, maybe in the most basic sense, but are there people who will identify things that maybe I would non-clinically, because I don't have any degrees in this, look at something and be like, that seems like a problem. And then you could go into therapy, and depending on the therapist, you might get somebody who goes, oh, this is so good to talk to you. Talk to me more about this. Let me understand. Let me help you with this new thing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, therapists have quite the reputation for making problems that aren't really big problems into bigger problems and, keep you in therapy longer and longer, for sure. Because, it's kind of like a therapist's nature to peel back the layers of the onion, so to speak. And that's right back to balance, which is why you need to find a therapist that is balanced in their perspective. And when you are out of balance yourself, it's kind of hard to discern. So it's tough. You gotta, when I pick a therapist for myself, they come by referral. And they're typically, they're always a person that I know is not going to take my, isn't going to let me believe my own lies about the world, because I'm trying to change things, not live in it more. So I want somebody that's going to push back on my belief systems and tell me that, this thing that you think is a huge problem, it really isn't. And you're dwelling in this needlessly.
Kristen, this is Ryan. Because of the way that society has approached these things, which we were just talking about a second ago, I get the sense that there are a lot of people, maybe even listening to us, who are so inverse of that. They're so over the ways the society has moved toward making everything about yourself and about your traumas, that they may actually need therapy, and they're going, but I don't want to be a part of that culture, So I think that this conversation is important because of that very thing. But what is it that people come to you with? I mean, why do people seek you out? Maybe who are a part of that going, I don't really think I need therapy, but maybe I just want to talk about this thing.
Yeah. So breakups are a common theme, where they don't need deep psychiatric help, but they had a breakup and it's I need help thinking this out. And I do a lot of that kind of therapy. I need help thinking this out kind of therapy. I'm happy to do that. I think it's more of a consultation relationship in that realm. And human beings are by nature, we revolve around our relationships. And sometimes you don't want to talk to your mom or your dad or your friend. You want to talk to somebody who understands humanity in a different way, and you want to go consult on it. And that's totally fine. But that you're not going to find yourself in therapy for years and years and years. You're going to go and you're going to say, I'm having trouble getting over this. And, I just need to chat about it. And then you move on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I like.
Trust in
a
good mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. President.
Exactly. It's like finding a good mechanic.
President and CEO of Greenway Therapy. You can go to begintalking.com. We're speaking with Kristen Neal. Some of the comments on our YouTube live chat came up about this. I'm going to reword some of them. Some people commented about TDS. My question to you is, how often do politics come up in your conversations with your clients?
Oh my gosh, politics are coming up more and more often, especially in couples therapy. But it started through COVID. It was super intense, and people were breaking up over the COVID shot and things like that, ending marriages over a disagreement about the COVID shot, which was unbelievable to me. I would never consider something like that. But it comes up quite a bit, especially with couples, and everybody or not everybody. There are a lot of people having reactions to Elon Musk and this and that, and these conversations are coming up, and conversations about politics and therapy are just like any other contextual thing that comes up. It could be a sock, it could be your car's dirty, it could be parenting, it could be Elon Musk, but it's all rooted in the same stuff, which is deeper feelings about trust and safety and belongingness. It's not really about the politics, and a good therapist is going to recognize that and not get sucked into who's more right conversation.
I mean, it's hard to find anybody who doesn't have an opinion. You know, some opinions are going to be stronger than others, but most people who are paying any attention whatsoever are going to have an opinion on Donald Trump. They're going to have an opinion on Kamala Harris. They're going to have an opinion on Elon Musk. I would think it would be very difficult as a therapist to have those opinions. And then if you've got a couple sitting in front of you and one of them thinks that the president of the United States is the great Satan and the other one is like sitting there smiling with their MAGA hat on, I would think it would be hard for a therapist to sit in there and be this complete and totally objective third party to navigate that. How do you go about doing that with your own internal thoughts that you're naturally going to have?
Yeah. So the way you do that is that's not the issue anyway. You know, that the politics aren't the issue. You figure out, like, my job is to figure out what is really going on here and teach you how to do that too, so that you don't need me forever. And what is really going on here, it's not really about the politics. It's about belief systems that are ignited by politics. And once we start talking about what's really going on, which is the belief systems, we're not talking about politics anymore. You see?
Yeah. I mean, there are things, I'm trying to think of anything in particular. There are things that my husband is probably super into that I want to have nothing to do with, but I don't utilize those things as a way to pick on my husband. So, I guess the politics thing is inflamed even more. People are so passionate about it. But it's sad to hear that there were like marriages ending over the COVID vaccine. That does make me sad to hear that.
I think it's really unfortunate. And, if your marriage ends over a COVID vaccine, I think that really speaks to the bond not being very strong anyway.
Yeah. Well, I want to give you the opportunity, Kristen, to talk a little bit about how, like, what kind of clients do you see? What kind of work do you do at Greenway Therapy? In case anyone's out there, because I'll just say, for me particularly, if I were going to go sit down and engage in therapy for whatever particular thing or recommend it to people, I would want to know that I was placing myself or my friends or my family in the hands of somebody who they could trust to do the job the right way. I think that's an important part of the business. Tell us how you go about it at Greenway.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, first of all, what we don't do. We don't prescribe meds and we don't do psychiatric care. We're not working with schizophrenia. We have some bipolar clients, but we're not working with them on, keeping those kind of symptoms in check directly. And oftentimes people misunderstand what, like, as a consumer, what they need. So we are not doctors. We are a private pay group practice, and we work with all sorts of clients. The general anxiety and depression and breakups and people going through divorce. That's how we advertise, but we end up with all sorts of issues in our office. Like, I've got a guy that works for me. His name's Larry Marshall. He works with people that struggle with addiction. So we do about everything in the realm of normal life stuff. I personally like to work with like high performing people, like executives and entrepreneurs and those types of people. They're typically very anxious and very logical, and I work well with those types of personalities. It's a lot of fun for me, and it's not like deep psychiatric work. It's more of a consultation process on how do I stop being so neurotic? How can I calm myself down? How can my marriage get better while I'm still high performing and running a business? So
those are
my favorite clients.
Do those people who are high performing people, I wonder how many of them come into you and they can like completely explain the problem.
Oh, they can't.
And they just don't know how to get out of the loop.
Yeah, they can't completely explain the problem. So that's my job to help them understand like what's really going on here. They come to me frazzled. The most successful people come to me totally frazzled, like, help. They're just like, help. I just don't know. And I take some history and get to know their patterns, and we're able to get to a resolution pretty quickly if they cooperate with me. Some people,
they really want to be helped.
Don't.
Yeah.
Some people that really want to make change will get after it, and I can explain things in a way that they can understand and appreciate.
So you work with marriages, you work with relationships. I think it's important that you talk about relationships because I think society right now doesn't really value relationships at all. It seems to me they don't prioritize it because it seems like society collectively is like, whatever's good for you, you do that. And that's not really a way to healthy relationship, I would assume.
No, it's not. It is really sad. We've become like overly individualistic, like your spirit and soul or whatever is special, but like we exist us humans exist in the context of relationships. We need each other.
Yeah. We don't champion that as much as we should collectively in our culture today.
No, we don't.
Well, Kristen, Neal, it's a pleasure to have you on. I'd like to have you come back on and maybe we can potentially take some questions from listeners through our YouTube chat and kind of work through this. I think it's a healthy way to go about things. And I love your approach and I love what you do at Greenway Therapy. People can go to begintalking.com and learn more about you. So Kristen, thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, we'll do it again soon. Bye-bye. Okay, I like it. I came across, I've had some conversations with her from a show. I've never gone to have therapy with her before. I'm kind of interested in the possibility of doing it. But when they talk about relationships is the most like fundamental thing to like everything else kind of comes after. How do you handle relationships? What are the most important relationships you had in your life that have gone well, that have not gone well? Let's talk about that when we come back. Our understanding as a community, as a broad community, on what relationship is and what we're encouraged to do and what we're discouraged to do. Let's discuss that when we come back. If you've got thoughts, you can leave them on the Any Fry YouTube chat and let us know. Maybe you've done therapy before and you love it. Maybe you haven't and you wish you did. Maybe you've never done it and you'd like to. Also, the YouTube live chat poll. Do you have a Real ID? Yes, no, but you need one, or no, I don't need one. Let us know in the Any Fry YouTube live chat. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
I love Andrea's steak sauce. I don't think that's a secret. I talk about Andrea's steak sauce all the time and going to the restaurant, but I've discovered that I really love using Andrea's steak sauce last minute. I'm not usually the person to say do that because that's not really the recipe for using Andrea's steak sauce. Let your meat sit in Andrea's or on the meat for like a long period of time, all day. Come home and cook your meat when you get home. That's the best way to do it. But I've been doing it very, very quickly because we've just got that kind of lifestyle. And to make a full meal using just some hamburger and some Andrea's sauce, maybe a salad on the side using Andrea's dressing, it's awesome because it can be so fast. And it's the great equalizer. Even if you don't have time to cook it the way that you think you should, sit there and, really go with the process outside while listening to the game or whatever. If you don't have time, that's okay. Get a bottle of Andrea's steak sauce and it'll make the whole process easier and you'll feel like you served your family or whoever's with you a great meal without really trying that hard. That's why I call it the great equalizer, because you can use it like a pro chef, or you can use it very, very off the cuff like I have been doing because we're just so darn busy. Go find it at Deerberg's or at Schnucks or Andreas.com.
Farming's hard. To feed the world, farmers have to work the land, brave the elements, and fight the battle against weeds. Weeds reduce crop yields, so prices go up and everybody gets less to eat. But 50 years ago, farmers got a new tool to fight weeds, glyphosate. It kills weeds while protecting the harvest. Time and again, it has been approved by the EPA and by leading regulatory bodies around the world. It helps enable practices that reduce erosion and keep soil healthy, which is good for the earth. Farming's hard, but it's a little easier with glyphosate. Learn more at go.bayer.com/glyphosate, paid for by Bayer.
taxpayer.
They told us nothing but lies.
These timeshare thieves out there are terrible.
They bullied us.
It was a nightmare. We felt stuck.
Our timeshare is all a scam.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
I was completely taken advantage of.
Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group, and I know the tough spot you're in. Are you asking yourself, why did I buy that timeshare? I'll tell you why, because that presentation wasn't a normal sales pitch. It was a show to convince you that timeshare is a great investment. They told you it was available today and today only. They said you're foolish if you don't buy, and unfortunately, you believed them. We get over 3,000 complaints a week from folks just like you that were misled into buying a timeshare. Give us a call. I guarantee you, if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-314-2233. 800-314-2233. 800-314-2233.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for the Doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. We call them the Doctors because they've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any other practice in St. Louis. So if you're looking for the best doctors for your best vision, it's Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. Doctors Birdie and Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. I had an eye disease when I was younger. It left me with a silicone buckle around my right eye, so I put my trust in Ophthalmology Associates to take care of my annual checkups. Maybe you're experiencing dry eye, allergy eyes. They can help. They can help with cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, and LASIK surgeries. And if you're looking for the best eye care, it's Ophthalmology Associates. Make an appointment today by calling 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com. They have a great office location just west of 270 on Manchester Road. Again, the phone number, 314-966-5000. The website, youridoc.com. Ophthalmology Associates.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan and be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere. Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. He took the midnight train going in.
Where would you say your our societal priority is on building good relationships? I don't know how to quantify that, but
that's a tough question, because on one hand, we move too fast to really do it well. On the other, it's something people talk about doing, like, oh yeah, it is a trend to say, yeah, you really got to focus on your relationships, but nobody's doing it right or well.
When you see Drew Barrymore, and we talk about Drew Barrymore on the show more than we should, but that's just because the TV is still on whatever channel 4, whatever Mark Cox watches in the morning for local news, it's on here. And I think about her, like the whole Drew Barrymore approach. If you haven't seen her show, and I'm sure many of you haven't, the chances of you maybe being aware of her style is a little bit more likely, but she sits nose to nose with people. That's almost not an exaggeration. And it's just this, it's all about connection. I don't want to connect with people like that.
It's so funny you say that, because I'm the exact opposite. She does drive me crazy because there's a little bit of a performance to it. It's
I
TV,
kind of believe her, though.
I do too. That's what I'm saying, is that when you meet somebody who is like that, they're just very earthy, and
it's not bad. I'm just not like that.
Yeah, and I like those kind of people. I think I'm saying that because my wife is kind of like that. She's not Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, she is.
But she's got some of those qualities, and it's one of the things that attracted me to her.
Well, I would say too that those qualities are, I think that I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm envious of people who have those qualities, and very aware that I don't have those qualities. So I know who I am. It's not like, oh, Annie, just be like that. No, that's not happening. But I'm not going to say their names on here, but there are people in my life who I've just found these people. They found me almost in my life. I had a college roommate who was absolutely like this. Katie Fitzpatrick on the show was very much like that. Yeah. It's just like, and a few others that I've worked with or known with, like, they're just this extra kind of joyful, super extroverted, feed off of other people and other people feed off of them. And I love being around those people, but I am not those people. But there's a difference too there's a vulnerability that comes with that I think that's really where I am not interested in dipping my toe in. That you have to be able to be vulnerable to have relationships with people. Mm-hmm. I feel like we as elder millennials, all of us being in our early 40s, there's still kind of this resilience that we grew up with, especially the first half of our life, where you were not doted on as a child. There were expectations that just were for how you were going to grow up. The internet came to be an actual factor in our life, not until probably college age. You could email in high school, but I mean, you didn't even know, like, what do you email?
Yeah, I remember doing goofy stuff online in high school, but it was like a novelty.
But it wasn't, I mean, like, to think about ripping the internet out of your life right now, it's not even possible.
Yeah.
But we were formed in a world before that. We were entertained by it for a few years while it came of age. And now there's just this, I mean, even social media, we have never been so aware of details of so many people's lives, and yet so much more detached from an actual human to human level than we are right now. And I think that's sad. I think about that a lot as a parent who has a child who's 15 and a child who's 3. There's a wide span of time in between there. But I think about how much of my time right now is dedicated to just doing what my kids need me to do. And my husband and I, like, we kind of go through these phases. I don't know if you guys do this, where it's like you just kind of look at each other and you're like, we're just basically running a family business here and passing each other along the way. And it's like, oh, hey, I remember you. And then you got to do something about that. You got to go somewhere. You got to prioritize that. You probably should have done it before you get to the point where you're like, when was the last time you and I had a conversation that had anything to do with other than work and kids? But when it comes to teaching our kids how to build relationships, it's a very difficult thing to do. My older 2 have phones and the ability to text, but they don't have social media. And it's an isolating thing for them. They want it really bad. And I feel like as a parent, I know that that's not what's best for them, but I want them to have it too. I just want them to have it and use it in a appropriate way, or not get pulled into something that's inappropriate. And I just don't trust the system. But then I'm like, I can't put my children in a position to build meaningful relationships when that's not how the world functions. And then I look at myself and I'm like, I don't know that I'm really fully investing myself in building meaningful relationships right now. Is that,
well, you said
this feels like therapy.
Well, but what you said a line there, teaching my kids to have good relationships, meaningful relationships. I've never, when you said it, I thought, I don't know that I've ever had a conversation with my kids about what a good relationship looks like. It probably has happened in passing without me realizing it.
Certainly model it.
But that's what I was going to say, is that I think we try to model it more than talk about it.
But I also think that the unique position that we specifically are as 40-somethings, we are raising our children in a world that we did not grow up in.
It's different.
It's very different.
Even the way people meet their spouse is different now.
Yeah, you remember NSYNC's Digital Get Down? Digital Get Down. That was, like, ironically funny. Most relationships now are forged through, I would venture to say 90+% of relationships exist because of the internet. So, I mean, whether you met on Match.com or somebody, but you're of course going to look them up on social media. You're going to do every bit of research, at least women do. I don't know if men do it as much, but you're going to do the research that you can, and then you're going to communicate digitally and grow your relationship that way. that is a different thing than physically. Like if you're in a marriage and you're living with somebody and you're like in the same space as another human that has equal rights to the space that you're in, you have to know how to have human relationships. And I don't think that our children are learning those things. And it's a difficult thing to teach them because you have to have willing participants. And most kids are digital.
Why do you think they're not learning them? Because of the fact that you're just talking to people in fake ways now?
Well, it's not. It's very real. It's fake to us, but that's life. That's reality. Like, and that's the struggle I have as a parent, which is I know the benefit of how we were raised, then the freedom we had because the internet was not a factor. But that's not reality anymore, and it will never be a reality again. The reality exists with digital communication that is constant. It never, ever stops. It is an addictive service that is when you're that age, and really all you're craving is validation because you just don't. If you're a junior high student, I mean, the more you're pushing out there that you are cool with yourself, the less I believe you.
I don't even care what people think of me, and I'm going to say it all the time.
Yeah, just to remind you.
Believe you.
Once again, I'm like, okay. There are people that I know, and I can think about this growing up, but I can also, that there are some kids who are just kind of have a chill about them. And I admire it. It's like there's a maturity about them that isn't in a constant need for attention. And I know people in my life growing up who had they were just programmed to seek out attention, and people like I enjoyed being around them while they were getting the attention and being in that orbit, but not having to be that person. So it's not a negative thing. It can be a negative thing, but it can certainly be a positive thing as well. But in a digital world where everything we communicate, like I seriously can't, I've talked about this before. When I leave a voicemail for somebody, it's 50-50 that I'm going to vocalize the punctuation in the book. I don't leave very many voicemails for that purpose.
Fee, fi, fo, fum, exclamation point.
That was actually me. It's just weird to think if you put kids in a room and took away their phones. I remember one time my son had his baseball team. It was the majority of his baseball team came over. I think they were in like 7th grade, and they had a sleepover, and we ordered them we got them food, and then they came up at like 11:30. They're like, we're hungry. So we ordered pizza and we sent it down there. But they were 7th grade, so they weren't as connected to their phones as they might be now, 15 years old. But they pretty much put their phones away. They turned all the lights off in the basement, and they played hide and seek downstairs in the basement. It's pitch dark down there for like
that's cool.
4 or 5 hours. And you would hear nothing. And then you'd hear, and they'd scream in a super high pitched voice, but they were just basically like, you could hide anywhere because you couldn't see anything. And I mean, I think Jared and I stayed up till like 3 or 4 a.m. because we just want to make sure that like nobody got hurt or whatever, but they were having the most fun. And it was heartwarming to hear them interacting with one another instead of sitting there just, and I don't have a problem with video games and phones and texting. It's just, how do you use them in a healthy way? We've grown up, life and time will always have like mom issues, dad issues, marriage issues, like all of these relationships that we're in are always going to have issues. And sometimes they're going to be more challenging than others. But I kind of wonder in 20, 30 years, these kids that grew up communicating not in a human to human way, in a digital way, you can't do that when the relationships get as close as marriages and children and all of that stuff. You have to know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
And we don't really prioritize that.
There's going to be a generation that doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in their ability to have relationships. We may be in that generation now. And it's going to show up in weird ways where kids who were brought up with a little bit more boundaries and were taught, that your relationships, your life isn't lived entirely online, are going to have a leg up in this area, in relationships.
And in work and in business.
One of the things we teach our kids is when you talk to somebody, especially an adult, because the kids will talk to each other, make eye contact. And they do, they're not great at, they're perfect, but they do. And adults will say, oh, thank you. They may not say thank you for the eye contact, but they'll say, oh, you're thank you for listening. You can just tell that there's something different there. And it's something that it takes a lot of work, but I know that it's going to pay off long term.
Yeah. I just hope that our kids learn how to. It's funny to me. It's like I can teach them how to talk to other people, but if nobody else knows how to do it, I don't know if it really matters.
Well, if your kid's the one going, no, eyes right here,
yeah, it's going to be real good.
They're the dominant one in the conversation.
What if they're not talking to anybody?
Well, if they're talking to a wall.
What if they're like the other person's like, no.
If they're saying these things and there's not another person, yeah, there's other issues.
I just know that the social media question, the phone question, the relationship question, middle school sucks just in general. High school can suck. It can be less challenging for some people, but it still can be a very difficult time. I feel like right now the kids growing up this way are experiments because we don't know. We don't know what these problems are going to look like. And I guess they'll grow up and they'll have the problems they have, and we'll have a whole different set of circumstances for my grandkids. And then is that just the cycle of time? I don't know. I'm always trying to figure it out. I haven't done it yet. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this. Do you have a Real ID? Yes, no, and you need one, or no, and you don't need one. I went to go get my Real ID yesterday. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And, well, let's just get to it when we return. Go to the Annie Fry YouTube live chat. If you go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, just type in FREY Annie Fry, and you'll see that we're broadcasting live. You got to vote while the video is still live, so you got to get there and hurry now because we're on for another 15 minutes. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
The smell of wine and cheap perfume.
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers.
I want to talk to you about the Dittamore Group for buying and selling your home. They are the number one team in the number one office in the Metro East. They can help you, of course, in Illinois, but also in Missouri. So if you're looking to buy or sell, Tammy, Zach, Pat, Abby, and Trisha want to take your phone call, 618-531-4652. Write this down, 618-531-4652. I think it's important to highlight that the folks at the Dittamore Group, this is their full-time job. They are experts at it. They are the best at it. And this is what they do full time. It's not a part-time gig. It's not a side gig. It's not a side hustle. Their job is to make sure that your home is sold for the best top dollar and presented in the best possible way in the right amount of time for you. It starts with a phone call from you so you can get that conversation started. It does not matter at all how close you are to listing your home. If you've even just thought, I wonder what we could get for our home if we decided to sell and relocate, you need to give the Dittamore Group a phone call. 618-531-4652. 618-531-4652. They have extensive knowledge of the markets that they work in, and they are excited to share their 50-plus years of experience with you. 618-531-4652. TheDittamoreGroup.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Who has the most 5-star reviews in St. Louis? Is the Post-Dispatch Window Retailer of the Year, J.D. Power Award winner 5 years in a row, and has the nation's best warranty coverage? Renewal by Andersen, that's who. Take advantage of our great April sale. Buy one window, entry door, or patio door and get the next 50% off with 0 payments and 0 interest for 12 months. Check it out at rbastl.com or call 314-332-1924. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window.
This could be the number 1 tax saving strategy for your retirement savings, and it's hidden inside IRS tax code section 1.408A-4. Discover what it is and how you can make your money go further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by advisors from financial and tax architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis, and you'll learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing Social Security, paying for health care, and more. And they do it for free, but bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are a few openings left for classes this month, so register now by calling 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
The YouTube live chat poll today is about the Real ID. It's just asking, do you have one? Yes, no, and I need one. No, and I don't need one. Those are your options. We're going to give you the results of this poll in just a couple minutes. It is 2:49. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Good afternoon. It's Mark Reardon getting set to go on a Wednesday. I went down the Carmelo Anthony rabbit hole, this case from Frisco, Texas, and we're going to sort out the facts on that one here. Coming up, Paul Morrow is also going to join us later in the 3 o'clock hour. Brian Kilmeade at 3:25. We get rolling right after Fox News.
Do you know this song?
Yes, I can't place
Just
it.
wait for it. I love this song, and every time I see it on a list of my about music or whatever, I'm like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. And then it hits, and I'm like, in full on
Is this
music video mode? No, but that sounds like it'll go. Do you know the song? Did you know it?
Nope.
This is way before Ethan's time.
I still don't know it.
I know. That's what I love about it. It's sneaky.
I like the beat. Very time period.
Not yet.
No.
Do you know, Brad?
I have it in front of me, but
I know,
don't
but
recognize
do
it.
you, based on the words, do you know the... Libby likes it. While we're listening until it hits, do you have a Real ID? I went and got mine yesterday. Here he goes. Soon. No, I lied. It's still first. There's still 4 minutes of the song
And this
left.
is where Ryan would say, and we'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. Build it all the way up to here and be like, oh, never mind. Let's scrap it.
I still don't know this
Nothing.
song.
You don't know the song?
No.
Oh
I
my gosh.
recognize it.
This is like get in your convertible and drive down the PCH while you're crying while you're wearing a scarf. In the 80s with like a hazy filter on the camera.
That's why.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got the shot.
Yeah,
Right
I know.
there.
I thought about it. That's what I do, except for I just drive next to the bluffs to Grafton.
I think I ruined that
And everyone's
song.
like, gosh, there she goes again.
The whole time I'm listening to it, I'm going, who do you know?
No, that's a different one.
Who do you love?
I don't know why the 80s just seem so theatrical. Like,
They were theatrical.
very film oriented. It seemed like a lot of the songs were big songs because they were connected to something Hollywood.
It's weird because if you watch an average movie from the 60s or 70s, I'm not talking about the best of the best, the ones that still survive, but just some average movie, they're really not made well. They're kind of crappy. And then you get to the 80s and it's like they figured out the formula.
Have you seen Bull Top Guns?
Now I have, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the better Top Gun?
Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
Oh
I have
my
not
gosh,
seen
he did it again.
Yeah, you're right.
He did it again.
After you said it, I'm like, well, of course I've seen the second Top Gun. Oh, wait, no, I've still never seen the first one.
You go home.
I will.
Go to Chicago.
I'm going to Chicago right after
Get
this to
outta
go see
here.
my favorite band.
Ethan, which is the better Top Gun? Especially because you probably didn't
I've
see
only
the...
seen both of them once, but I really enjoyed the second one a lot more than I thought I would. I would probably say that one.
Brad?
I'm going to go with the first one because the second one doesn't work without the first one. All the nostalgia of the second one is from the first one.
I think the second one is so much better than the first one. Sacrilegious to my husband. He just adores Top Gun. But Top Gun, the original Top Gun is such a good movie and it's such a good story, which kind of to what Brad's saying, the idea of storytelling and movie making, Tom Cruise has stuck to that. And he seems like one of the rare people who's like, I'm going to make the best movies that I possibly can, tell the best stories that I possibly can, and be the best characters that I possibly can. And everyone else is like, imagine all the people. And you're like, no, I don't want to do that. Go be a character that I can't imagine seeing in my real life that I have to see on the silver screen. It just is. I think the songs, though, of the 80s really, I don't know. Maybe it's just what stuck. 30 years, 40, gosh dang it, 40 years later. It's terrible.
Yes, it is.
Do you have Real ID?
Yes.
And did you honestly not know that one?
I still don't even remember getting it. I looked at my ID and it has the star on it. So
Brad?
I gotten it.
I have it, yeah.
When did you get it?
Mine expires this year, so 4 or 5 years ago.
Ethan?
I do not have a Real ID yet.
So as of May 7th, you cannot fly without a Real ID. It doesn't even matter if it's domestically. If you have a passport, do you have a passport?
Yes.
Passports will count. So I think the Real ID is the biggest deal for flight travel. But a passport, you'd be able to board a plane with a passport if you don't have a Real ID.
But even in country, you'd have to have your passport.
Yes. Which is a detail that people are going to need to know. This is going to be an absolute disaster when it gets implemented, because people have been talking about Real ID for so long and it kept getting pushed aside for so long that I am one of them was like, oh my gosh, I am flying at the end of May. We're taking our Hawaii trip in honor of my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, a family trip. Very excited about it. But I need to get this. I just flew this past weekend after May 7th. I need to have a Real ID. So I go to get this Real ID yesterday. Went to the Bethalto DMV. In Ethan's old stomping ground. Yes.
You were working. My mom works in the salon that is right next to that DMV.
In the salon. Okay.
It's in the same exact building.
I know. I saw it. It's something brands,
Total
beauty,
image salon.
I wasn't close.
The way you said salon sounded almost like slums. And I thought
Salon.
That's a weird thing to say.
Salon.
When I went to, I had a huge stack of papers. I couldn't find my social security card. And they're like, you can bring a pay stub. They listed a whole bunch of things. Nobody prints the social security number out anymore. And I'm talking about years back. My W-2s don't have my social security number on them. I had to go back. So I went there and I presented everything. I brought my tax returns with my W-2s because my tax returns have my social security number on it, signed by the person who processed them at Tomerlin Law. And I brought my W-2s that matched it. I'm like, here. And they're like, doesn't count. Wouldn't take it. So I had to go home. I had to get a W-2 from 2017 to show them. And behind me in line, probably 12 parties of people who had no idea what they needed to do, but were there to have it.
At least it was a party.
Why does the government require you to have 5 pieces of identification to get a state ID and tell you have to have it to fly? Why do they do that?
Can never be too safe, Annie.
Oh my gosh. Give us the results of the poll.
289 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. Do you have Real ID? An overwhelming 66% say yes, 18% say no, they don't need one, and then the final 16% say no, but they do need one.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Get on it if you need it. Be patient. The people at the Bethalto DMV were very nice. I might add that. All right, keep it here. Mark Reardon next.
Step outside and fall in love with your backyard again. From inviting porch overhangs to durable composite decks and cozy screen rooms, Lakeside Renovation and Design creates stunning outdoor living spaces designed for relaxation, entertaining, and making memories. With expert craftsmanship and top-quality materials, your new outdoor oasis will be perfect for every season. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com to get started. Let's turn your backyard into the retreat you've always dreamed of.
Men, are you just not feeling it? Could be your testosterone. U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peter's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. Check out the testimonials at usmensmedicalcenter.com. Patients are excited about feeling great, having energy, improved libido. Plus, they love the staff and the fact that they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Spring's coming. Enjoy it. Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333. usmensmedicalcenter.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.